At the Jiangcheng First Professional Academy, the teacher announces to students their completion of all the theoretical studies at the academy. Today is their day to awaken their talents and also enter the dungeon for the first time ever. He calls the students by their IDs to undergo talent awakening. After spending so many years in this world helpless, our hero, Lin Ye, looks forward to his talent awakening. Swordsmen and mages are the most popular professions. Then, warriors and others are closely behind. But due to low healing benefits, poor mobility, and almost zero attack capability, priests are at the bottom of the professional hierarchy. With powerful equipment and high-quality talents, other professions can solo instances except for priests. Priests can only hide behind the team, gain experience, and heal, making the profession a joke. Sumumu asks our hero if he has decided on any profession to choose, but our hero tells her that it's just useless to think about it because he'll know what profession would suit him after awakening his talent skills. All the students start crying about how beautiful Mumu looks and get angry when our hero pats her head. The students are annoyed with him for thinking of himself as superior and want to know what talent he'll awaken. Wang Shui starts the awakening test and awakens the rare level talent, Powerful. The students around him are amazed by Wang Shui's rare level talent. However, Wang Shui looks forward to seeing our hero win Mumu's favor. Mumu wonders why her friend always ignores other people's opinions, and he answers her that he's just focused on becoming the strongest. Our protagonist is called for the awakening next. He walks up to the stage, and his soul is suddenly transported to a different realm. As the blue and red dragons emerge out of light and absorb into his body, he's surprised to see himself unlock the mythical level talent, Reversal of Heaven and Earth. The mythical level talents have never appeared before, so our hero chooses to hide them. The system shows that the Reversal of Heaven and Earth talent reverses and strengthens all of our hero's skills. Upgrades can change the nature of his skill, and the current strengthening effect reduces blue consumption by 10%. The current transformation effect makes gains become debuffs, and debuffs become gains. However, it can be upgraded after the personal level reaches 10. Our protagonist thinks about his mythical level talent that can reverse all effects on himself and freely activate or deactivate, and realizes that enemies can never kill him. However, if he only uses non-skill, basic attacks, or lets the priest heal him, it can damage him. He now understands why talents can be hidden. After the announcer reveals that our hero has chosen to hide his talent, everyone thinks that he has awakened some garbage talent, and Mumu just overestimated him. Mumu goes to awaken her talent next, while our hero visits the statue of the goddess to choose his career profession. While choosing his profession, our hero thinks that his nearly invincible talent is a divine-level skill, and to maximize the power of the talent and make up for its shortcomings, he chooses the priest profession. Our hero confirms his profession and transforms into a priest. Our hero uses his reversal skill, and his healing spell now becomes a life-depriving force, reducing the opponent's health by 50 points. Our hero realizes that the skill is described as reducing life, which means defense armor won't be able to resist it. The fighting strategy becomes clear for our hero, but he also knows that he needs to be careful of his teammates' healing or buff skills, because in a reversal state, the buffs from teammates would end up harming his body. Everyone starts laughing at Lin Ye for choosing the priest profession and thinks he wants to hide behind his team. Meanwhile, Mumu awakens a legendary level talent, Tears of Biogenesis. The talent allows her to summon otherworldly souls to fight for her. Everyone instantly falls in awe of Mumu's capabilities and wonders what profession she will choose. They again laugh at Lin Ye for having a mediocre talent against their goddess. Mumu chooses the mage profession, and everyone understands that it's a good choice since she could also become a member of the professional alliance. However, the teacher is more interested in our hero for voluntarily choosing a priest profession. They find it interesting that he chose to be a priest without being forced into it. Mumu runs to our hero to inform him about her profession and asks to go into the dungeon with him. Lin Ye refuses to join her and tells her that he has other plans. The system alerts that the novice trial dungeon has opened and advises everyone to team up with the other students. Right then, Wang Shui walks up to our hero and asks him for his help to talk to Mumu and have her join his team, and he even offers to take him along in his team as a reward. However, our hero refuses to join them. The principal walks in and cautions them that fighting against a group of monsters requires teamwork. He advises our hero to put aside any grudges, but Lin Ye assures him that he doesn't have any grudges. He just wants to solo the dungeons for higher experience. The principal doesn't think a priest can solo a dungeon and tells Lin Ye to not play with his life. He cautions our hero that he could die in the dungeon, but our Lin Ye assures him that he can do it solo. Our protagonist wants to solo dungeons to level up quickly and to avoid his mythic level talent being revealed to others. The principal is left wondering why this student has so much confidence. The system cautions our hero against entering the trial alone, but he enters the dungeon anyway. Our protagonist enters the dungeon. The Forest of Wolves is a challenging dungeon for the new students. However, if they work together well, there won't be any casualties, and achieving a B-level rating is already the best result. The dungeon has a healing spring in the middle to restore health. Although it ensures the safety of novice trials, the dungeon also lowers the status of priests. However, if someone is too reckless and leads the wolves together instead of clearing them on the way, or ventures too deep into the forest to the Forbidden Era, they will die in the dungeon. As a mythical level talent awakener, our hero is not satisfied with mediocre ratings, and so he decides to enter the legendary Forbidden Land. Deep in the Forest of Wolves, Lin Ye stands before the wild wolves. The wolf's bite skill triggers the bleeding skill that causes continuous damage for 3 seconds. Our hero uses his reversed healing spell, dealing 50 damage points to the wolf, killing it instantly. As the wolves jump at him and bite him, their bite skill reverses, adding 20 points to his health and a continuous 2-point health gain from the passive bleeding skill. Our protagonist then reverses the universe again and uses his imprisonment skill to restrain the wolves. The imprisonment skill clears the wolf's mana and makes it useless. As the wolf falls, our hero realizes how effective this spell is against low-level monsters. The wolves continue to attack him. He uses the reverse healing spell again, killing them in an instant. Seeing how each small monster gives 10 experience points, our hero believes he can level up to 4 by clearing all the monsters. His goal is the hidden final boss, and with even a 1-level difference, Lin Ye feels confident that he can do it. The healing spell cools down, and our hero uses it once again. He continues defeating the wolves and exits the combat standby state. He turns off the reversal of the universe effect and the clarity spell, and allocates the 2 attribute points to intelligence. Our protagonist already has the ability to heal without taking damage and continuously restore mana. He wants to put all his points into attributes because he believes that he can maximize his damage this way and get instant kills. Meanwhile, the principal sees Lin Ye heading towards the prohibited zone and realizes that he intends to challenge level 5, the hidden Dark Wolf King. The principal thinks that our hero's hidden talent must be at least legendary level or maybe even above legendary. But since the talent is hidden, the principal decides to shift his focus to the other students. His fellow makes a bet with the principal that our hero can break the record. However, seeing Mumu, they find her ambitious but lacking experience. In the dungeon, Mumu faces the wolves. She uses her ice solidification spell, leaving everyone in awe of her power. The ice shatters, killing the wolf instantly. However, more wolves rush in on them, and she prepares to run. But then, Mumu realizes that her image as a goddess will be ruined if she runs. She stands back, shielding her team, and uses the tier of biomimicry. On the other hand, our hero levels up to 3 and allocates his points to intelligence again. Right then, he hears some noise in the distance and sees the hidden boss. The Dark Wolf King as the hidden boss is a taboo in the Academy records. Countless young talents were severely injured or disabled fighting it, and even future heroes were ruthlessly killed by it. Since then, this forest has been classified as a taboo by the Academy. Our hero continues to observe the Wolf King from a distance. The wild wolves always seem to be around him, but sometimes they also act normal and occasionally leave to find a convenient spot. The wild wolves sometimes wander around instead of immediately returning to their lair after solving a problem. Seeing how they leave frequently, our hero realizes he can take them out one by one. Our hero continues to take down the wolves. The little wolves continue to add to his experience, preparing him against the Dark Wolf King. This way, our hero can reduce the number of the hidden bosses and raise his level. After taking down the wild wolves and reaching level 4, our protagonist faces the Dark Wolf King. The system reveals the hidden boss's stats. Its health and attack power are 50 times that of an ordinary wild wolf, and a new adventurer could easily be crushed by it. However, our hero is no ordinary adventurer. As the wolf attacks our hero, his health increases. Lin Ye feels confident of himself for defeating the hidden boss. The cooldown ends, and he uses the reverse healing spell, instantly taking down some of the Wolf King's health. The Dark Wolf uses his claw strike, but our hero dodges the attack. The Dark Wolf King then uses his fury. Our hero reminds him that his subordinates are all gone. As the hidden boss takes a leap to attack our hero, he uses the reverse healing spell again, instantly taking down the Dark Wolf King. After killing the hidden boss, our hero gains 1,000 experience points and reaches level 5. As a reward for clearing the trial, he receives a bronze chest. For completing the hidden achievements and killing the final boss, he gets a silver chest as an extra reward. However, seeing that a healing reversal spell didn't count as damage, Lin Ye thinks that he might not have achieved the Triple S evaluation. Meanwhile, as the system reveals that a student has cleared the trial with a Triple S evaluation, the whole academy is left shocked. The principal is shocked to see the unprecedented event, and seeing that the hidden achievements were cleared, he knows that only Lin Ye entered that forbidden area. The other staff is also shocked and can't believe that the trial was cleared without taking any damage. Mumu is also left shocked because she could barely get out alive with an A-level completion, and wonders who this genius could be and wonders about how her friend could be. Our protagonist opens the silver chest and obtains a rare skill book, Catastrophic Ailment, 5 free attribute points, and the silver grade equipment, Dagger of Shadows. The Dagger of Shadows increases his attack power by 50, armor penetration by 10, and has a 5% chance to make the enemy bleed. The Divine Healing skill gives allies within a 10-meter radius a divine aura that restores 100 health points and provides a continuous regenerative effect, recovering 20 points per second. The Catastrophic Ailment curses all the enemies in the 10-meter radius with an evil aura. It takes away 100 health points and adds a continuous bleeding effect for 10 seconds, causing 20 health points of damage per second. Our hero learns both skills. Although they have a long cooldown period and consume a lot of mana, they aren't an issue in the early stages. Such high damage output and AoE burst already make it the strongest skill in the early game. By combining it with a clear mind, the cooldown becomes negligible, and our hero has now already passed the strongest mage class. As for the dagger, he intends to sell it to the wealthy second-generation players to cover his future expenses because he doesn't want to spend his uncle and auntie's money. The biggest reward of all is the 5 attribute points because they're very rare. Other than the 2 points gained from leveling up, they can only be obtained by completing specific tasks in challenge instances or opening hidden chests. If the first completion of a dungeon doesn't reach an S rank or higher, one wouldn't receive attribute points. But for a triple S completion, the extra 5 points are a reward. Our hero decides to allocate all his extra attribute points to intelligence, and from today, he becomes the most extreme mage and the most devastating catastrophic priest. As the portal opens, the students get excited waiting for the SSS team to arrive. Their excitement turns to shock when they see Lin Ye come out alone. They still think the actual team is coming behind. Mumu asks our hero if it was him. Wang Shui still underestimates our hero and thinks he didn't do anything. Right then, our protagonist pulls his dagger out to sell to the assassins. Everyone is shocked to see the silver-grade equipment. They start bidding their prices, and the highest one goes to 50,000. Our hero counts on the bid to 2, and then someone bids 100,000 alliance coins. In comparison, the total annual income of an ordinary family is 10,000 alliance coins. It would take them 10 years without drinking or eating anything to save that amount. Everyone is shocked to hear the bidding price, and our hero sells the dagger to the bidder. The other adventurers gather around him, asking all kinds of questions. They can't believe he went solo and cleared the dungeon with the highest evaluation. The academy teachers refuse to believe that our hero cleared the dungeon with such a high evaluation. Currently, not a single professional at the top of the pyramid, at the newbie stage, can achieve the requirements for a triple SSS evaluation. Wang Shui gets angry and thinks our hero must have cheated somehow because a priest can't be that powerful. The principal steps in and tells everyone that they're now apprentices with extraordinary abilities. In 30 days, they now have to go through the most important thing in their life, the professional test. In the future, whether the players return as ordinary people or become heroes fighting the tide of demons depends on their performance in the assessment 30 days later. The principal advises everyone to use the low-level Secret Realm dungeons to level up to 10. The professional test is to be completed as a team, and our hero has already decided on his partner. He knows that Mumu might act cold, but she worries a lot. She's extremely loyal and easily deceived, and even though she has a strong talent now, our hero still wants to protect her because that's the promise he made to his uncle and aunt. So he asks Mumu to go to the outdoor dungeon with him. The Secret Realm, Stone Cave Dungeon, has a normal difficulty level where they have to kill the Poison King, then a hard difficulty level where our hero has to kill the Scorpion King within a certain time, or else he will fall into a frenzy state. The challenge dungeons can be selected according to the difficulty, and the difficulty increases with the level of the dungeon. The higher difficulty means more difficult monsters, more requirements to clear, and more people needed, but it also means more rewards. Newbie dungeons typically have normal, hard, and nightmare levels, but the Stone Cave dungeon has only a normal and a hard level. Seeing our protagonist choose a hard difficulty, Mumu worries that she'll just hold him back from reaching a triple S ranking. However, Lin Ye tells her that this dungeon has a skipping class to avoid monsters and clear the dungeon. The monsters and terrain in the dungeon are fixed. By sorting out some materials left by the seniors, our hero found out that skipping class is possible. Mumu is amazed by her friend's deduction skills. She has always been aware of his hidden strength. She often saw him studying various dungeons and monsters, calculating different data, and still, he'd barely pass every theoretical exam, which made everyone think he was easy to bully. However, Mumu believes that her friend will become the hero who saves the world. Inside the Stone Cave dungeons, Mumu is mesmerized by the glowing crystals. Lin Ye reminds her that this dungeon is more dangerous than the previous ones. It forcibly matches insufficient team members with other teams, which means they have to watch out for monsters and competition. An explosion goes off, and one of the players hits the wall. Wang Shui is constantly beaten by the monsters, and he realizes that this dungeon is far more difficult than he could have imagined. The system reveals that the poison sting of the demonic creatures will paralyze anyone it hits. Wang Shui starts trembling and sees our hero coming in. He reminds Lin Ye of the Academy's mutual aid treaty and asks him for help. However, our hero leaves them be and runs away to clear the dungeon himself. Our protagonist tells his friend that the scorpions are afraid of water and have no long-range attack method. He tells her to follow his command and assures her that she won't get poisoned. When Mumu makes a noise, Lin Ye adds that the scorpions are also very sensitive to sound. A giant scorpion stands in their way. Our hero uses his plundering technique and instantly takes down the scorpion, leaving Mumu surprised. Our hero explains that the basic requirement for skipping class is to bypass the monster's surveillance by taking a unique route. They reach the bug in the dungeon, the spring. Lin Ye and Mumu jump into the spring and swim out to the other side. Our hero picks up a rock and throws it up to disturb the monsters. All the scorpions shift their attention towards our hero, and he intentionally lures them towards himself. The scorpions gather at the spring, and Lin Ye uses his spell to instantly kill all the scorpions, gaining 2,000 experience points. Wang Shui's whole team is shocked to see him instantly kill the monsters that his whole team struggled with. Mumu uses her ice condensation spell and kills the rest of the scorpions. She gains experience points, leveling up to 4. After killing all the small scorpions, our hero focuses on the Scorpion King. As a boss monster, it resists the instinct of fearing water and swims through the spring. Mumu's ice condensation spell only causes 10 points of damage to the Scorpion King. Mumu is shocked to see the boss monster's terrifying defense and worries that she might make a mistake. Our hero tells her that the weak point is at the second segment of the scorpion's belly. Suddenly, the scorpion strikes them, but they dodge the attack. Our hero tells Mumu to keep creating the footholds. He then uses the plundering technique, dealing 150 points of damage. He then signals Mumu. She uses her ice condensation spell. The Scorpion King exposes its weak point to make a move. Our protagonist lands a critical hit, dealing 1,000 points of damage and killing the Scorpion King instantly. Mumu is shocked to see her friend kill such a powerful monster so easily. As a result of completing the dungeon with all the achievements, our protagonist's rating upgrades to triple S. He receives a golden treasure chest and 5 free points. Wang Shui and his teammates fall to their knees and beg our hero for forgiveness. Lin Ye tells them to keep today's events a secret if they don't want to face any consequences and leaves the dungeon. Our protagonist enters the teleportation space to open the treasure chest in private. He opens the treasure chest and gets a growth-type poison bubble skill for the mage class, golden grade Gale Shoes equipment, a silver grade hunting greatsword, a silver grade emerald ring, and 5 free attribute points. The hunting greatsword has an equipment effect of increasing attack by 200 points and strength by 5 points with a shield breaker passive effect. The Gale Shoes increase agility by 10 points, increase movement by 30%, and have a passive effect called Ghost Step. The Poison Bubble skill book is a golden grade skill that summons a poison bubble that deals damage upon contact and spreads a damage area upon explosion, with a chance to affect a target to enter a 5-second poison state. The Emerald Ring reduces the cooldown time of all skills by 10%. Mumu is amazed by the golden chest's rewards. The 2 golden grade pieces are top-notch for the early game, but the biggest treasure is the silver grade ring for our hero. The ring is as valuable as free attribute points, and it could get our hero 1,000,000 coins in auction. Our hero hands over the poison-based skill book to Mumu. Since she was previously using ice-based skills, she thinks she can't use the poison-based skill book because mages can't learn skills of other attributes. However, when she touches the book, she suddenly unlocks the hidden talent, 5 Elements Master. Mumu is surprised to unlock this new talent because she had never heard of this before. By gathering skills from different attributes, she can have some unexpected advantages. This hidden talent now becomes Mumu's trump card. Mumu asks her friend how he's going to use his 5 attribute points, but he tells her that his method won't suit her. Outside, the players worry that they will fail the wilderness instance. Right then, our hero and Mumu teleport, and they instantly fall in awe of Mumu. They gossip about Lin Ye's abilities and his rumored achievements, and suddenly, a car drives in. Huang Xiaofeng steps out of the car after seeing the girl Lao Zhao was talking about. Mumu grabs her friend's hand and hurries to leave. She hates Xiaofeng for using his family's background to clear instances and playing with girls from poor backgrounds. Xiaofeng walks up to Mumu and asks to get to know each other. Everyone suddenly shifts their attention to Xiaofeng and starts gossiping about his potential to become the top scorer. Mumu rejects Xiaofeng, claiming that she already has a boyfriend. Xiaofeng sees his target. Our hero asks Mumu if she's avoiding the guy. Our protagonist pushes the playboy away. Xiaofeng gets angry and decides to fight. He uses his charge skill to punch our hero. However, when he lands the blow, our protagonist uses the reverse plundering technique, and Xiaofeng takes the damage himself. The playboy grows angry, thinking his opponent used some trick. Our protagonist tells him in a baby voice that he didn't do anything because his profession is a priest. Everyone spectating is left shocked seeing Xiaofeng on the ground. Xiaofeng takes another swing in anger and ends up hurting himself again. Our hero was just trying out his reverse healing on professionals, and now realizes that the plundering technique can also negatively affect professionals. Even after taking a beating, Xiaofeng challenges our hero to a fight and thinks he'd make his opponent kneel. Zhao Qihong reminds his friend that professionals aren't allowed to use awakening skills in private fights. He's surprised that a priest can severely injure someone with a touch of skin and top-notch equipment. He's aware of the school forum talking about our hero soloing the dungeon and reaching level 5, but refuses to believe that it's possible. Zhao Qihang knows that Lin Ye must have awakened a powerful talent. So, he apologizes to Lin Ye on his friend's behalf and assures him that he doesn't want any disturbances in the class. Xiaofeng screams at his friend for apologizing instead of fighting. Zhao Qihang lifts Xiaofeng up and tells our protagonist that his friend will probably cause trouble for him in the future. He hands over a card with 50,000 in it and advises our protagonist to not come to school for a month. He suggests Lin Ye come to him to level up in the dungeons to not fall behind before the test and tells him to avoid Xiaofeng for a while. Our protagonist finds Zhao Qihang interesting because he wants to sell a favor instead of fighting. Lin Ye doesn't want to bother anyone, but he wants to see how many people Xiaofeng can get to bother him, because that will give him a chance to test out his combat effectiveness. Mumu stares at the cave dungeon guide created by our hero and wonders if it'll actually sell for a high price on the forums. Our hero assures her that no one can resist extra free attribute points. Outside the cave, a group of professionals stare at the guide, wondering if it's real or fake. One of them decides to buy it to test it out, and right then, someone buys the guide for 5,000 alliance coins. 3 minutes later, a professional walks out the portal, amazed that he actually cleared the Triple S rank. He leaves a review on the guide, and soon enough, more and more people start to buy the guide, and the forum fills with positive reviews. Everyone is surprised with the easy class skipping. The orders continue to flood in, and Mumu's eyes glow gold seeing so much money. However, the guide is starting to gain attention from some agencies. They look for the person behind the guide, but our hero used a hacking technique to cover his tracks. They ping the IP down to Zhangcheng College, and their superior wonders if anything special has happened at the academy lately. On the other hand, our hero also finds a buyer for his great sword at 80,000, and the buyer agrees without any hassle. Mumu is amazed by how much money our hero has made, but Lin Ye wants to run more dungeons. Although the silver tier graduation weapon is the best early gear, Lin Ye thinks that it will eventually be replaced. Even with top-tier equipment, lacking combat awareness means that one is just fodder in the trials. Mumu asks our hero why he spends time compiling guides to earn money, even though there's so much time left for the test, and he's already growing really fast. Lin Ye answers that he's doing it to protect those he loves because they've been protecting him all these years. In his past life, our hero was an orphan who never had a family. This world has been his fortune because here, he had parents who loved and protected him. However, 10 years after the demonic tide ended, the relatives treated him with cruelty and wished him dead so that they could divide his parents' wealth. Our protagonist starts remembering when his relatives would argue about what to do with him and who takes the inheritance. They would plan on keeping him like a dog and argue about getting a bigger share. Our hero had no way of resisting, so he just ran away. His plan was to survive and make those relatives pay. But then, his uncle and auntie took him home and treated him as their own. They helped him slowly and even helped reclaim his parents' inheritance without taking a penny for themselves. The greedy relatives were brought to court and faced punishment. Without his uncle and auntie, our hero couldn't have received an education and lived the life he is living now. Earning money is to repay those uncles and aunties a debt of gratitude. For him, becoming stronger is to protect the 3 most important people in our hero's life and to prevent the past from repeating. The first-year student Baiji walks up to our hero and asks him if he's the great sword master. Seeing her unmatched appearance with the username Muscular Man Brother, Lin Ye thinks she's here as a proxy transaction. Baiji insists that it's actually her. Our hero wonders if the little girl is naturally super strong or if she put all her points into strength. He tells her to carefully check the item because refunds aren't allowed once sold. Baiji takes the sword, and as she swings it around effortlessly, our hero realizes that it's her own strength. However, Baiji still can't believe the great sword is actually only 80,000. Only one of such grade is produced in her grade, and when she inquired about it in the external market, the hunting great swords were priced over 200,000. Seeing her completely oblivious about the equipment prices, our hero thinks she's some rich kid. While they finish the transaction, he advises her to check the prices before making a purchase next time. After the transaction clears, our hero's balance exceeds 1 million, and he becomes a gold card member. As he walks away, something hits him, and the system reveals that he's received a special buff called Gaze of the Lucky Goddess that will upgrade the loot box level of each dungeon he clears. Baiju tells him that it's her talent and asks if she can join his testing team. Our protagonist is surprised to see Baiji have an innate lucky buff, a talent rarer than some legendary talents. Seeing her, he believes that she's not lying about it being upgradable, and realizes that it could be considered almost invincible. The application of this talent is not limiting, and with the support of this buff, one can also open legendary or even mythical treasure chests. Lin Ye asks Baiju if she has told anyone else, and she says that she hasn't. She further tells him about her limitations, that it can only be used 3 times max per week, and can only be bestowed upon one person each time. Our protagonist advises the little girl to not let anyone else know, because it might attract some dangerous attention. He tells her that her buff is extremely precious and scarce, and once it's revealed to anyone, it'll attract evil professionals. They might even imprison her and deprive her of her freedom and future. However, Baiji grows curious, thinking that the Professional Alliance is the place they're all supposed to go. It's an organization that spans across the globe, leading humanity in the fight against the tide of darkness. Linya explains that there are factions within the organization that have a complicated relationship, and there are power struggles and assassinations happening all the time. He asks Baiji to join his team and promises to take care of her. Baiji is shocked to be invited, and our hero reintroduces himself to his new teammate. A moment later, Baiji meets Mumu. They both greet and introduce each other. Baiji falls in awe of Mumu, and Mumu finds her cute. Our hero treats them both to a meal and tells them they have to continue with the dungeon. The dungeon our protagonist intends to visit next is the nightmare-level Goblin Underground Dungeon. In order to obtain freedom points for everyone, our protagonist decides to enter alone first and prepare a strategy for his teammates. The nightmare level is the highest difficulty, and golden level loot boxes are a minimum guarantee. However, the monsters in that dungeon also have enhanced attributes, and a novice player could easily die if they're not careful. So, Mumu grows overprotective of her friend and refuses to let him go on a suicide mission. Our protagonist tries to assure her that he'll be fine, but Mumu believes that even some advanced adventurers can run into problems at the nightmare difficulty. She screams at our hero that even some above level 10 players have been severely injured and no one has attempted it in a long time. Seeing her angry, Baiji runs away. Our hero agrees with her and assures her that he'll take on the challenging level dungeon instead, and suggests going home for dinner first. Mumu agrees and threatens to tell her parents if he breaks the deal, but deep down, our protagonist already intends to sneak out and solo the dungeon. Meanwhile, someone posts a picture of our protagonist taken at the dungeon teleportation point at the academy. The forums gossip about whether or not clearing a dungeon solo is even possible, while some argue if the top scorer really has to be from the Zhangcheng Academy. Mumu continues to scroll on her phone, and Linya snatches it from her to get her out for dinner. At the dinner table, the whole family catches up about the trials. The uncle admires our hero's strong will and reminds him to not overwork himself. It turns out Mumu had complained to the uncle about our hero, and they try to convince him to have a more healthy and stable life. Lin Ye jokes a little, and then assures his uncle that he won't do anything beyond his capabilities. The uncle extends a card to our hero. Lin Ye tries to refuse it, assuring them that he's earning well, but his auntie forces him to take it. Our protagonist feels grateful for his uncle and aunt for the life they've given him. For their sake, he feels that he has to become stronger, and heads to the nightmare-level dungeon. Meanwhile, Xiaofeng screams at Zhao Qihang for betraying him. Qihang tries to tell him that he was trying to save him, and without him, he'd be lying in the hospital. Xiaofeng screams at his friend, calling him worthless. As Zhao Qihang walks out, his friend throws a glass at him and tells him to get lost. Qihang turns around and tells him that he deserves to be beaten up and left miserable so not even his mother would recognize him. But then he laughs and reminds Xiaofeng that he doesn't even have a mother. Xiaofeng gets angry and tells him that they're done being friends. Qihang understands the kind of trouble Xiaofeng is in. Lin Ye could easily injure him without even using any active skill, and there are rumors of a person solo clearing dungeons. Then, there's been a rising star selling strategies, attracting interest from various people, and gaining fandom among students. The fact that both are in the same city means Xiaofeng is in trouble. Xiaofeng calls his henchmen and tells them to gather more people and equip them with the best gear to teach an arrogant student a lesson. Our hero visits the Goblin Underground Dungeon. This is one of the most challenging dungeons at the current stage, and due to its long duration time and high demands, even highly professional talents avoid coming here. However, in this dungeon, he can find superior golden chests, and with the lucky buff, opening platinum-grade lower chests and gaining over 10 attribute points should be easy. As our protagonist faces the goblin soldier, the timer starts. The purpose this time is to test his speed kill technique. The requirements to achieve a triple S rating in this dungeon are to defeat the Secret Realm boss and kill all the monsters without using any special items. But there are two unique points. The first is to complete each floor in under 10 minutes, and the second one is to kill the Goblin King, the boss of the Secret Realm, while enduring attacks from goblins. At 5 seconds, the goblins gather at the entrance. In 30, our hero speed kills the goblin soldier. In 2 minutes and 5 seconds, he runs deep into the depths of the first floor of the underground and faces the goblin captain, the same as he estimated it. As our hero reaches the gate, he uses his healing skill, successfully clearing the first floor in under 4 minutes. Our protagonist's divine healing skill upgrades to level 2, and the bronze door to the second floor opens. After clearing the first floor in just 5 minutes, indicates that the monster pulling route for the first floor is possible. Even if the damage isn't enough, there's still a 5-minute window to get it done. Our hero clears through the second, third, and fourth floor easily, and reaches the final 5th floor, teleporting to the Goblin Palace. The Goblin King sits at his throne, annoyed at our hero for entering his palace. Our hero is surprised to face the final boss without facing any underlings first. The Goblin King starts the fight with a wide area skill, Earthquake Split. Our protagonist realizes that agility is not enough and thinks about quickly dodging to the side to avoid the impact zone. He lies down to reduce the damage from sweeping shockwaves after the goblin lands. However, he chooses to reverse the damage from the Earthquake Split and Spear Thrust. Our protagonist gains some health and then reverses the range shockwave of the earthquake. He then attacks the Goblin King, dealing 200 damage. The Goblin King uses the skill Dragon Spear. The reverse skill recovers 200 of Lin Ye's health, and his attack power increases by 40 points. The Goblin King then uses another skill and realizes that it still has no effect against his opponent. So, he goes into a frenzy, thinking that he has guessed his opponent's weakness. The Goblin King calls his subjects. Our hero is amazed to see the nightmare-level boss's power, but he still doesn't think it's the right time for the ultimate move. The Goblin King orders his minions to directly attack our hero without using any skills, thinking that it's just the skills that are ineffective on our hero. The Goblin soldiers start to attack our hero, but he dodges, and the attacks they manage to land only end in his advantage. The Goblin King only grows more furious seeing him take attacks without any damage, and our hero's look in his eyes offends him even more. Our protagonist uses his reversal skill to tank the Goblin King's health. The Goblin King gets furious at our hero and challenges him to a fair duel. Our hero stops and turns around for a direct fight. As our hero puts his staff down and summons his energy, the Goblin King is left shocked seeing the demonic god's power in his hands. The power rains down from the sky, coursing through every corner of the palace, instantly killing all the goblins. The Goblin King's health reaches down to 1%, and his desire to fight back fades. Our hero uses his reverse healing plundering effect and finishes off the Goblin King. After finishing the Goblin King, Lin Ye gains 5,000 experience points and levels up to 7. He gets a triple S rating, and the gold level chest upgrades to a platinum chest, thanks to Baiji's luck buff. Our hero is impressed by the luck skill, and the dungeon duration allows him to run this instance once more. He opens the chest and receives multiple items. Our hero is impressed with the rewards. The Stellar Radiance provides a large area for group healing and damage reduction, but with the effects reversed, it means a greater damage range and higher instantaneous output, while also reducing the opponent's damage reduction and increasing damage. With this, any monster can be killed quickly. Our hero cheers for his new strategic level group skill and learns Stellar Radiance first. As for the Holy Light, he intends to learn it since it's not that impressive. He then allocates all 15 attribute points to intelligence and makes a leap in his stats. As Lin Ye comes out of the portal, he's caught by Mumu. He tries to play dumb but then admits that he has cleared the nightmare level dungeon. Mumu tells him that she had a sudden idea and wanted to try this dungeon. As they stand outside the portal, Xiaofeng finally finds them. He tells his underling that our hero has been looking for a beating. However, the underling refuses to do it because he's too scared of our hero. So, Xiaofeng decides to take care of it himself. Our protagonist puts the Holy Light skill book and the Sandstorm Bow, along with the Nightmare level dungeon's S-rank guide, up for sale. The users start drooling at our hero's ability to clear such a high-rank dungeon. The forums gossip that Lin Ye, the seller of the Greatsword, and the person who solo cleared dungeons at triple S rank are all the same individual. However, all the comments start slandering the conspiracy theorist for thinking that Lin Ye could be a powerful professional with a powerful talent. The guide starts to sell, and Lin Ye receives a request to purchase a Holy Light skill book for 100,000 coins, and the Sandstorm Bow for 150 coins. He receives a total of 500 Alliance coins, which isn't as much as he expected. Our protagonist thinks that because his guide doesn't include a flawless clearance of the Goblin King at the end, no one is willing to buy it. But the problem is that even if he creates such a guide, no one can clear it. However, the Nightmare level dungeons are still an improvement for his equipment, and money is only a second preference. With 15 hours left for the luck buff, our hero decides to take a rest, recharge energy, and head to the next dungeon. As our hero goes out on a walk, a car drives up to him, and he sees Xiaofeng in the car. He reminds Xiaofeng of what happened last time, but then his underling threatens his family. Our hero gets angry and agrees to give them a duel if they don't cry about it. Xiaofeng gets angry at his underling and tells him to not intervene in the fight. He feels confident that his expensive gear will help him fight against our hero, but then he whispers to his underling to execute the original plan. Our hero knows that Xiaofeng has recruited more people. He sits in his car and hurries his opponent to fight. Xiaofeng threatens to make our hero crawl like a dog, but Lin Ye intends to make him wish that he was dead. Xiaofeng drives his opponent into a jungle. Our protagonist is impressed to see so many people and asks if they want a one-on-one or a group fight. Xiaofeng calls for a one-on-one fight, feeling confident that he can beat his opponent, and draws out a diamond-level shadow sword. As all the fighters charge at our hero, he summons his staff and takes a leap back. The underling is surprised to see his agility. He continues to run them around. Xiaofeng's underling uses the assault slash. Our hero decides to use his reverse destiny talent. The underling starts laughing at him and suddenly starts coughing up blood. He's left shocked seeing his opponent break through the golden tier armor without any attack. He gets back on his feet, thinking that his opponent is just some ordinary priest. He calls his friends to all attack together. All the fighters gather around our hero. Lin Ye uses his reverse all-star divine brilliance. The chains summon around, restraining everyone instantly. The underlings are shocked to realize that they were taken down with just one shot. Right then, Xiaofeng boasts about his diamond-level armor, bought for tens of millions at an auction. The diamond-grade armor set enhances all attribute values to 100. The underling is shocked to see the Huang Group's sole heir wear armor bought from China's top-tier auction. Xiaofeng threatens to make his opponent kneel down. As Xiaofeng faces his opponent in his shining diamond-tier armor, he thinks Lin Ye would be scared of him. Our protagonist reminds him that the inner weakness always remains no matter how expensive his gear might be. Xiaofeng gets furious and runs towards his opponent. Our hero leaps into the air, shocking his opponent. While Xiaofeng tries to fight Lin Ye, his underling is shocked. He can't understand how our hero instantly defeated all the fighters in some move, and how his damage could be so high. The underling felt as if his opponent wasn't human anymore. It felt more like something that came from the demonic tide. Seeing his opponent move around so quickly, Xiaofeng thinks that he has allocated all points to agility. He boasts about his expensive gear and thinks he can take down our hero with just one strike. However, our hero tells him that his base attributes are just too low. Xiaofeng takes a swing, but our hero dodges and decides to take his turn. With just one attack, our protagonist deals 1,000 points of damage, destroying the armor shirt and the diamond grade set. Xiaofeng is surprised to see his diamond gear take so much damage. He uses his slash charge, followed by a triple slash and a sweep through 1,000 troops, but our hero dodges it all. As Xiaofeng tries to get back up, he starts taking damage all of a sudden. He rolls on the floor in pain, and our hero heals him back up. Lin Ye tells him that his attacks can easily break through his armor. He then asks his opponent to give up his diamond-grade equipment to him, and to promise never to cause trouble again. However, Xiaofeng refuses to comply and takes damage once again. He gets angry at our hero and decides to use his ultimate move. Our protagonist sits on the floor unafraid. Suddenly, Xiaofeng's bones start to break. Our hero stands back up and heals his opponent. But then, Xiaofeng threatens his opponent by using his rich dad's name again. Our hero hates being threatened and takes away his opponent's health again. After draining his health, he heals Xiaofeng again and then drains his health again. He continues to torture his opponent while the underlings learn a lesson. As our protagonist shows his true power, Xiaofeng's underlings are shocked and worried that their boss might be killed. Meanwhile, a camera continues to record the whole fight. People start tuning in for the live ranking stream, commenting about what new gossip is happening in town today. As more viewers fill in, they begin discussing the well-known second generation, Xiaofeng, and ask whether this fight was supposed to happen quietly. During the live stream of the fight, excitement grows as people witness the new skill used by him. They ask where Xiaofeng found the courage to use such skill. Then Xiaofeng opens his mouth and curses aloud. The public narrative shifts instantly. Viewers begin calling him out for his harsh behavior, saying they didn't expect such an attitude from him, especially as someone with his status. When Lin Ye begins using his mage skills, the audience's attention swings fully toward him. They praised his ability to heal and deal damage at the same time, pointing out how rare it is for a priest to directly attack a warrior equipped with diamond-grade gear. The stream catches Lin Ye's face clearly, and people start recognizing him, asking whether he's from Jiang City's professional academy. They bring up the conflict that happened a few days ago and comment that Xiaofeng must truly have terrible luck. Two commentators mention knowing Lin Ye from school, saying he was the first person to ever solo a dungeon, which confirms their theory that he awakened a top-tier talent. Viewers quickly dig into his past dungeon records, even though they weren't from large professional-level instances, and start discussing his impressive inventory of SS-graded items. His transactions having been photographed only strengthens the buzz. Baiji tries to shift the audience's interest elsewhere, but people continue focusing on this new possibility for priests and begin forming Lin Ye fan clubs. Many start openly supporting the suppressed ones and criticizing Xiaofeng, accusing him of acting arrogant just to attract women. They say he looks down on common people and that being the eldest son of a massive corporation doesn't suit his behavior. The conversation quickly escalates into calling him a Nepo baby. Soon, viewers start targeting his father, Tianqi Huang, accusing him of always covering for his son. Before long, people begin protesting against the Huang Corporation entirely, calling the company garbage. The corporation's stock prices start plummeting. Mumu shows the live stream to her parents, insisting that they should teach Xiaofeng a lesson. Her mother, however, refuses. She says Xiaofeng's personality is already twisted, and that life will naturally teach him what happens when someone chooses such a path. When Mumu tries to argue, her mother warns her that intervening will only make them look as bad as Xiaofeng. She reassures her that Lin Ye can handle this much on his own. Meanwhile, the head of the professional alliance asks whether Lin Ye has officially appeared in the professional world yet. He comments that Lin Ye's newly revealed talent could easily bring him to legendary rank, lamenting that such potential is being wasted on him being a priest. An extreme, once-in-a-lifetime genius, he argues, should work directly under the professional alliance. Other alliance members voice their support for officially involving Lin Ye, but the discussion soon puts Xiaofeng's father on the spot. They ask what he plans to do about his reckless son. Chairman Huang assures them that he has already settled on compensation and has apologized on behalf of Xiaofeng, promising he will take the matter seriously. Back at the battlefield, the person sent by Xiaofeng's father arrives and asks Lin Ye to show some mercy. Xiaofeng, hearing this, starts laughing desperately, saying that his father will kill him. Lin Ye asks the assistant whether the chairman is pressuring him, saying that if the chairman wants to talk, he should come in person. The assistant quickly clarifies that the chairman sent him to offer compensation and apologize on Xiaofeng's behalf. Xiaofeng cries out in disbelief as Lin Ye evaluates his options. Moments later, Lin Ye gets on a call with Chairman Huang, who apologizes once again. Lin Ye tells him that it's fine. The chairman then says he is willing to compensate Lin Ye for all the items he lost, anything within his ability, and asks if Lin Ye can hand Xiaofeng over to them so he can properly discipline him. Seeing a golden opportunity, Lin Ye requests 3 sets of unrestricted diamond equipment, 1 priest set, 1 mage set, and 1 soldier set, plus 5 million alliance coins. He asks whether Chairman Huang can manage that level of compensation. On the other end, the chairman falls silent, stunned, asking if Lin Ye is being serious. The chairman hears Lin Ye's impossible request and freezes, thinking about how he can't find 3 unrestricted diamond-level sets for different classes, even if he searches the entire country. After a moment of silent panic, he tells Lin Ye that it may take a few days to locate the 3 sets since he doesn't have them in his current stock channels. If by chance he still can't acquire them, he promises that he will personally farm the sets from special dungeons, and the Alliance is prepared to provide additional resources to speed up the process. While speaking, the chairman notices something strange. His son is unintentionally exposing him on the personal jet. He adjusts his glasses and uses his detection lens to find the camera source. The assistant steps forward and addresses the live stream directly, telling the audience that the matter is now settled. The chairman has apologized, and a compensation plan has already been discussed. Lin Ye, on the other hand, thinks about how the Alliance has suddenly taken notice of him. He wonders whether they have already discovered his special talent. The chairman continues talking, explaining that he can give Lin Ye access to all the secret dungeons around Jiang City. He informs him that out of the 50 dungeons across the area, several rare ones contain deep-rooted conflicts between factions, places where only the boldest professionals dare to step foot. Lin Ye calmly replies that a month is enough for him to clear those dungeons. The chairman hesitates, asking if that truly would be sufficient for a new professional. He doesn't reveal the fact that he only offered dungeon access so he can later treat Lin Ye's teammates as well, subtly hoping to build a deeper connection. He asks Lin Ye to bring his teammates along in the future. Lin Ye agrees and says he will settle the rumors on the professional forum and will live stream their dinner in exchange. The chairman praises his thoughtfulness, and with that, Lin Ye ends the call. He hands the phone to his assistant, commenting that he'll let Huang go since he apologized sincerely. The assistant explains that life in the professional environment is harsh, and such pressure often pushes people toward extremes. The next day, the 3 of them walk into a 5-star restaurant. The establishment is known for its elite service, with chefs from all over the world. Each team receives a dedicated service staff, whether dining alone or in a group, ensuring the finest experience. Mumu warns Lin Ye that even though Chairman Huang has apologized, he should still be cautious during the dinner. Lin Ye reassures her, thinking that the chairman's apology felt genuine. He sees potential in him and wants to establish a long-term working relationship. They step into their private service room, where Chairman Huang invites them in. He asks Lin Ye's teammates to take a seat and apologizes once again on behalf of his son, saying it was his own fault for not raising Xiaofeng properly, which led to such disgraceful behavior. Both Mumu and Baiji are surprised. How can the chairman of the Huang Association be so humble and kind when his son is Xiaofeng? Meanwhile, Lin Ye thinks about how Chairman Huang is willing to lower himself so much for the sake of his unfilial child. He shakes the chairman's hand, telling him that bygones are bygones and that he will let Xiaofeng go. After some time, the chairman presents the equipment. Lin Ye inspects the items to see if they conflict with his current gear, but the equipment only enhances his healing, increases survivability, and doubles his damage resistance. Satisfied, Lin Ye nods. Baiji thanks the chairman sincerely, while Mumu thinks that obtaining such gear is expected of a wealthy family and accepts his generosity. The viewers watching the stream think the same. They accept that the chairman's apology must be genuine since he wouldn't willingly lose so much money over expensive gear unless he truly wanted to resolve things. Many viewers soften their stance and agree that letting him go is fair, considering how much he compensated. The team enjoys their dinner peacefully. Before leaving, The chairman gives Lin Ye a heads up that he will likely encounter reporters waiting outside. He then hands Lin Ye a pass to the nightmare level dungeon, the Land of Bones, and lets the group go. As expected, reporters swarm him the moment he steps out, bombarding him with questions about his new talent and whether he can solo any dungeon. Lin Ye simply makes his way through the crowd, leaving the reporters empty-handed and stunned. Xiaofeng lay awake in his hospital bed as the deity appeared above him. He asked in an annoyed tone who he even was. The deity calmly told him that he was Mei Gaoi, a master from the abyss, and not only that, but a high-ranking demon with pure blood and immense power. Xiaofeng scoffed immediately, saying he thought some special person had visited him, only to find out it was someone like this. He added that once he recovered, he would personally send him back into the abyss like a bunch of bugs. The master narrowed his eyes, thinking that Xiaofeng had a very big mouth for someone who was currently a laughingstock for the whole country. He kept his expression composed but couldn't help defending his own side. He said that what happened was merely a strategic retreat from their people, nothing more. Then he started asking Xiaofeng if he was really okay with everything happening around him, his humiliation, his downfall, and even his own father leaving to join hands with Lin Ye and disgrace him like this. The master leaned closer and told him that he didn't need to endure such humiliation. He could make a deal with him, one that would guarantee unparalleled power, strong enough to crush everyone who had mocked him and betrayed him. But Xiaofeng didn't even consider the offer. He pushed the master off him with a sudden forceful shove and told him to get lost. He added that it was his last warning because he didn't want any mercy from a lowly being like him. The master's claws twitched slightly, and for a second, it seemed like he would kill him right there on the spot. But he refrained, pulling himself back and glaring at Xiaofeng. He said that if Xiaofeng ever changed his mind, he should call his name, and then he vanished without another word. On the other side, deep inside the Land of Bones, a dungeon with difficulty level nightmare, players found themselves surrounded by an army of dormant skeletons the moment they entered. Mumu asked Lin Ye how many times he had used his special talent that week. Lin Ye answered that he had used it only once, and told Baiji to let her own talent rest since she had used hers twice that week. He went on to explain that even the best drops wouldn't make much of a difference for them because they all had diamond-level equipment. The Huang family had also given them special access to the catastrophe level, raising their potential even further. Lin Ye began outlining their plan. Their main goal in this dungeon was to gain free attribution points, then acquire a platinum weapon, and finally achieve an SSS grade strategy for the nightmare level. Mumu confidently assured him that they wouldn't interfere while he fought. To get an SSS rating in this dungeon, players were required to kill the final boss, eliminate all undead skeletons, and do it all without using the dungeon's specific weapon, the Holy Sword. Baiju pointed out that the difficulty wasn't even that different. They just needed to use the Holy Sword to clear it without thinking too much. Mumu waved his hand and told her not to worry since they would be having a party anyway after selling all the valuable loot from this dungeon. Lin Ye used his own blood to lure in the skeletons, intentionally drawing their attention away from the Holy Sword. He coughed up blood from the strain, his attributes dropping sharply as a result. Mumu quickly passed him the relief herb pill to reduce the physical pain. Lin Ye continued fighting for his life as the skeletons rushed after him, proving his earlier assumption correct. The skeletons were more attracted to the scent of living blood than they were to any duty they were given. Baiju watched him with growing worry and asked if it was really okay for them not to help him. Mumu reassured her again that Lin Ye could handle all of this alone. Lin Ye finally reached the edge of the Land of Bones and used his healing method. The sudden burst of energy shocked the skeletons. They stopped following and tried to retreat, understanding the situation, but Lin Ye unleashed the reverse of divine damage on them. It was like fallen hell descended upon them. Their bones began to detach and their bodies started melting into nothingness. The three of them reached the edge just in time to hear a voice from inside the cave asking why they had awakened him. The undead knight of aptitude, platinum rank, stepped outside with his weapon in hand. The awakened beast, the undead knight, released a grudge upon seeing them. Lin Ye realized that it was a reversal healing art and used his plundering technique, which decreased the knight's health by 500. Lin Ye realized that he was more fragile and not as strong as he had assumed him to be. He kept attacking the undead monster with the same plundering attack until the system informed him that the knight had entered a severely injured state. His new state triggered his passive skill, Undead Fury, enhancing the knight's attributes. The knight opened his eyes, summoning his skeletons, and soon enough all the undead creatures resurrected, which surprised Lin Ye as he didn't expect his attack to backfire. The knight called him foolish, telling him that he did not realize he had reached a dead end, and told him to utter his last words. But hearing this, Lin Ye just laughed. Mumu stood at the side and said that stupid creatures like the knight did not know math. Since the resurrected creatures only had 100 health points, and Lin Ye still hadn't used the Holy Sword, he would need only 3 seconds to finish them off. And just like that, Lin Ye unleashed his power, and as expected, the health points of the resurrected creatures went down, and they died for a second time, leaving the knight in shock. Linya told the knight to tell him his last words and used the reversal healing art plundering technique, decreasing his health by 700 and defeating the boss. Just like that, he completed the dungeon. The system calculated all his task completion and upgraded him to SSS grade rank. He received the gold and platinum chest, and he reached Catastrophe Descends level 2 through Fallen Hell. Mumu and Baiju cheered for him, but the system interrupted, telling him that upon the dungeon's completion, while protecting the Holy Sword and defeating the Undead Knight, he had received a unique reward, the Stone Sword Key, which can open any one-time dungeon gate in the Land of Death, under all conditions met, with the highest difficulty of Catastrophe level. He asked if he heard it right as the system asked if he wanted to open the chest or not. Linya told the girls that the exclusive item of this dungeon was different from regular dungeons, and that the dungeon with all its rewards disappears once you use the key. He informed them about the hierarchy of the dungeons. The normal ones with difficulty Nightmare are visible to beginners, but after that, there are Calamity, Disaster, Catastrophe, and Epic levels. Baiju asked if the rewards under this dungeon were any better than the regular dungeons. Mumu assured her that the rewards dropped were unique. Linya asked if no one from the professionals could keep their health at 100%. Mumu told him to stop thinking about others' failures because they had a chest to open. He got Massacre and Iron Fist of Blue from the gold one, while he got attribute points from the platinum chest. He laughed at the fact that none of the items were suitable for a priest and asked if Mumu needed new weapons. Mumu shyly nodded. Linya handed her the equipment or sword while instructing her how to use it. She asked where they would go next. He told them to repeat his movements and clear the Land of Bones by themselves, get their S rank, and gain experience. Baiju exclaimed that she was alright with that when suddenly Linya sensed danger and covered Mumu while looking ahead, as a huge man held Baiju while pointing his knife at her neck. The man asked if he took the stone sword key. The buff man holding Baiju hostage told Linya to drop the thing they wanted if he was smart, and didn't want anything to happen to the girl. Soon enough, more people started coming and surrounded the man, among which a mage, a priest, and 2 warriors surrounded the assassin holding Baiju. On the other hand, Mumu, a mage, and Linya, a priest, stood there and watched. The assassin told him to hand them the sword once again, just as Baiju turned around and attacked the assassin. She asked why they would do such a thing. The mage on the opposite side tried to harm her, but she fought his spells off and fell down. The mage praised her skills. Watching the scene unfold, Linya informed them to let go of Baiju if they didn't want to die. The warriors started laughing and told him to give them his best shot since they liked it rough. Linya came forward and attacked them with painful convulsion. The mage and assassin made a run for it, leaving the warrior at Linya's mercy. Baiju stood up and ran toward him. The fallen warrior asked how he was able to do that at only level 10. Mumu unleashed her bionic tears that held off their priest. The 3 of them got together, finally getting into their positions. Linya told them to back off since they didn't have any guts to rob them. Their mage came back, cursing them, saying they would regret being ignorant once they saw hell today, and started doing his spell. Just then, the assassin started moving like a voodoo doll, and the mage ordered him to kill Linya since the girls were not as strong as him. Mumu looked at the bizarre scene and wondered if the mage didn't care about his own teammates. But Linya warned them ahead, ordering them to step back since he smelled the scent of magic tied on them. He realized that the people standing before them were all fallen ones who willingly made deals with the demons of the abyss, ignoring their original talents, which led them to gain abyssal powers that were several times stronger than their original ones. He informed the girls that they had lost their humanity and had become enemies of humans instead. Linya didn't waste a second and used his newly obtained ability, which was Reversal Divine Healing. Catastrophe Descends, unleashing a burst of energy filled with fire toward them. But the mage on the opposite side fought off his magic. He laughed, calling Linya weak, saying he couldn't even cast a spell by himself. He controlled their assassin and ordered him to take their equipment since it looked expensive. The assassin moved toward him, but Linya pierced his hand inside him, burning him from the inside, leaving the others in shock. The mage called their healer, telling him to heal the assassin, but the healer shook his head, telling the mage the assassin was already dead, so healing wouldn't work on him. The mage turned white, asking himself how a level 10 user could have such high attacking power. It wasn't possible unless he had also made a deal with the demon of the abyss. But he soon realized he was against none other than Lin Ye, a guy who was not an ordinary professional. He told his team that Lin Ye was not human, and that they should all run. Lin Ye declared that none of them would be leaving alive after their collaboration with the demons, and attacked them with starlight radiance, and fallen hell descended upon them. Their health became 0, as Mumu argued that if they defended themselves, they could end up like them. Baiju asked what to do with the bodies, since the guild would find out. But Lin Ye informed them that the guild wouldn't be concerned, since the fallen ones were not acknowledged by any organization, as they acted on their own. He checked for any good stuff on the fallen ones until he got a hold of a calamity level pass of a dungeon. He recalled the dungeon being in the professionals test once since its difficulty level was nightmare, but no aid team was able to clear it. The dungeon's second boss, Dark Curse Knight, became an actual nightmare and a roadblock for all the students becoming professionals. But all the students still went for it, not to have top-tier equipment or experience, but to get a hold of the drop after a flawless and first-time clear, which was the key to the catastrophe-level dungeon, the Forgotten Nest. He gripped the pass and concluded that it was a story for later, and moved toward their new dungeon mission. Mumu recognized it as the Giant's Demise Forest, and asked if they could go there. But he said that once Baiji's talent cooldown ended, they would enter this dungeon because they needed to get a hold of the pass for Forgotten Nest, along with achieving level 10 inside the dungeon. Baiju calmly asked if they should burn or chop the fallen ones, but there would still be traces of them. Mumu sighed and said that if one of them were a summoner, it would be a lot easier for them since they would just have to feed the bodies to someone. Linya looked at them with shock and held the fallen ones on his back, telling them he would throw them into the dungeon so they could cool down along the dungeon. The two of them started dragging the bodies, agreeing that it was a good idea. After their heavy lifting, Linya acknowledged that it was time to return to the academy to rest and balance their relaxation. Once Baiji's aura cooled down, they would head to the place that could lead them to the catastrophe level. One day passed as the three of them sat down enjoying their dinner. Mumu pointed out how they never had time to relax after they awakened their talents. Linya assured them that they were still earning allowance coins and made a plan of coming back here whenever they needed to relax. Mumu told him otherwise, saying that since she wasn't a kid anymore, she had to save her allowance coins for equipment, which caught Baiji's attention. While enjoying her meal, Baiju offered to pay for their meal this time. Linya laughed at that and called the waiter over. The waiter informed him that their bill had already been paid by someone. He turned around to find that person, as his eyes landed on the head. The person stood up and introduced himself as Yan, an official from the Professionals Alliance and the head of Lingyun's sect. Linya gave his introduction along with his teammates. Yan only smiled, saying he was aware of who they were, and officially invited Linya to join Lingyun's sect, which would allow him an early entry into the Professionals Alliance. The offer equally shocked the three of them as Linya told him that he still hadn't taken his test yet. He argued that if he agreed, people would think he used special connections without showing his strength to the public, making it hard for the Alliance to avoid suspicion. He concluded that he wouldn't join since he had no plans to and assured them he had his own plans. Yan understood his view, saying he looked forward to seeing him at the Alliance. He offered his help any time and added that once he joined, they would have a fair duel. Linya nodded, thinking of new possibilities. They all stood outside, unleashing their powers as he signaled Baiji. The system rewarded them with a special buff, and with each dungeon break, there would be an upgrade. He used the key to open Giant's Demise Forest, and a portal opened to the forest. The difficulty level of Calamity showed that this place was its home. The land filled with death and demise had no final destination in sight. Mumu pointed out how this dungeon had been separated from the massive secret dungeons, and that with its difficulty level, no other dungeon could come close. Soon enough, the enemies of this dungeon, spectral fallen soldiers, started appearing with special skills such as leap strike and thrust. Mumu came forward, telling Linya that she could handle these small ones by herself. She used her bionic tears on the fallen soldier, but the attack backfired as her health decreased instead. Linya quickly snapped his fingers, activating healing art, ordering her to watch out and only release combos as attacks. He instructed her how to move, and added how the new equipment was useful for her. Both of the girls cleared the obstacles with Linya's help as some strange stench started coming toward them. Linya warned them to be careful since he sensed the first boss's arrival. The first boss in question was none other than White Spirit Knight of level 13 with Platinum Aptitude. Linya wastes no time and uses his Reversal Magic Radiance type on the knight and later adds up his fallen hell upon him. Mumu asks if it died, but he notes all the sudden movements under the wind and declares that the knight is still alive. He orders the girls to watch out for their positions, and their first priority is to chip away his health bar so they can focus on other things. The girls get into their position as told and combine their abilities to form Bionic Tears and Poison Bubble together. The mixed ability keeps attacking the knight until his health decreases to 800. The system upgrades once again and activates its bleed debuff. After suffering continuous damage, all of his attributes increase to a greater level as the knight stands tall, then his parts start vanishing. Mumu gets confused, asking if this is his fixed ability to get invisible after 1 quarter. Baiji lets out a scream declaring that this boss is more challenging than they imagined. Linya says that it must be his last skill until he is undead again. He assures the girls that he will take care of that and orders them to keep pulling his aggro. He goes and finds a spot to hide with his view clear and distance just right. He thinks that the possibility of this being professional depends on his attacks, which will be long-ranged like javelin. The system upgrades again as the knight gets a shield around him. As expected, the knight senses Linya's presence and throws his attack like a javelin, but the wind sets aside. Lin Ye emerges from outside with reverse heaven and earth as his defenses get increased along with his movements. The knight looks at him with confusion, but in a blink of an eye, Lin Ye charges toward him while also activating his reversal healing plundering attack. He makes the knight understand that his long-range attacks won't work on him, and guesses that something like a charge skill will be used next, or he would retrieve his weapon. As expected, the knight uses charge attack using spiritual power gathering, and Lin Ye defends himself by using clarity art confinement technique. His attributes get an instant increase as he gains the active points of the skill since it's his first time using it. The knight tries to run back to his place, but Lin Ye smirks, knowing that it's already under his trap. Once he passes the blink, his health gets decreased instantly while all his powers start deteriorating and his skill time ends. The knight still tries to run, but Mumu captures it, asking if he still has guts left to run away. Finally, Lin Ye uses his divine healing along with Fallen Hell and descends upon the knight. The system shows that he defeated White Spirit Knight and he leveled up to 9. Baiju leveled up to 7 while Mumu leveled up to 6. The upgrade felt amazing as Lin Ye declares that the level of difficulty proved that it can't be cleared on its own. He instructs them on what to do next by following the signposts that will lead them to the second boss, but when he looks up he could not find any signposts for himself. Just then, long ropes like vines come from beneath and capture them and leave them into a pit. He instructs them to roll before landing so they can avoid getting hurt. The three of them make it safely to the next step as Lin Ye patiently waits for the legendary cursed teacher to arrive. A sudden attack from Moonlight Family takes Lin Ye out before the girls could warn him. When the notification pops up saying that a new monster has arrived with dangerous skills with a level 15 and aptitude of diamond, it walks toward Lin Ye. Lin Ye screams in anger, telling him he's heard about it from the students, and that's why the monster is getting so many kills. He shows up without even informing them. When it attacks Lin Ye so fast that he couldn't even react, Lin Ye screams in worry, warning Baiji and Mumu to not just dodge it, but to block it directly. When one of them gets hit with its slashing attacks, Mumu grabs her in her arms, thanking that they gathered enough points to heal themselves. She worries that with Lin Ye's power neutralized, they can't be healed by his priest powers. When Lin Ye throws another counterstrike, but to Mumu's surprise, even with triple the badass power of Lin Ye, he still couldn't kill even a bit of the monster's health. When she decides to take 2 poisonous and freezing attacks, reducing the monster's attack up to 1/3. Lin Ye attacks him with the 3rd slash and then comes slowly onto the ground, telling the girls that the cursed teacher's power strength is really strong. He has to stay focused. When the monster stands up again using his Dark Knight curse added to his mana, when the girls see this, they worry about Lin Ye. He screams not to worry and just stick to what they decided. He warns them that he will do anything he can to keep the monster from hitting Baiji and Mumu. He says that even if this one is a tank, he will get the cursed teacher monster so tired, wasting up his mana chasing him. He uses his plundering technique again, slashing and moving back and forth, dodging its attack. When Mumu says that monsters like this are the ones they fight when the reversal of heaven and death happens, he says that it's the ultimate counterattack of bosses, monsters that can take this much skill damage. He grins and smiles like he knows what to do. He thinks to himself that even though he is a tank and ultimate power boss, and they can't do anything right now, they just need to buy a bit more time. Suddenly, a notification pops up that aggro is being transferred and the cursed teacher monster health goes down, 950. Lin Ye grins and reminds the monster that the cursed teacher's opponent is him and he will keep on making their attacks useless. He screams, using his plundering attacks on him, telling the monster to die, and slashes him onto the ground. The monster rolls onto the ground when the notification pops up telling them that they have achieved the cursed teacher. The giant Black Knight curse has disappeared from the fortress and their task has been completed. When they see this, they all look at each other with joy when Baiji says that they can even use the cursed teacher in dungeons to clean up and help them. He puts his hand on her hair, telling her that it's their achievement, and that that's why he is always pleased to fight these bosses who haven't fought in a long time. He says that bosses like this give great achievements, and when they're beaten flawlessly, they even get so many rewards. When Mumu says, interrupting them, that the system messages are still coming, they aren't even done yet. She asks herself if there is something more awesome that can happen to them. When another gold-plated notification comes up informing them that they have achieved the entry pass to the catastrophe-level dungeon, the Forgotten Nest, and another one informing that the original simulation server, the Guard of the Gate, will now open the Forgotten Nest for them. He smirks again, telling them that they see how beating a boss flawlessly gets them rewards, such as getting the gates of the Forgotten Nest opened. But when he thinks to himself of completing the task, getting the entry pass, and changing the entry setup, he wonders how others will think about this. When they all start to walk inside the dungeon, Mumu gets distracted by shining butterflies. Then Baiji asks if anyone has a problem here, and if they are going to help people there. She says that no one has to worry about the cursed teacher monster because they already cleared the task. She smiles. When Lin Ye asks her if they are all training to become professionals, he says never mind, and that they should move forward into the dungeon. After some time, after clearing most of the task, They finally get to the end of the forest. Only one lives there, no one else. The setup of the giant boss's nest looks quite creepy, as he is the only one left now. The final boss might look like Godzilla with earth-shattering skills, but he is just a dumb brute no matter what. When Baiji asks that the guidelines said to stick to its left foot and trim its nails, Lin Ye says that's what they have to do. When he arrives, a big monster with the build of Godzilla appears, with long nails on all fours. Mumu screams, telling them the strategy, and when she is about to attack, he says they are not going to follow the same strategy as before. He smiles and says, "Let Curse Teacher do the dirty work here," and screams, summoning the Dark Curse Knight. He appears in the dark. Lin Ye screams, ordering the knight to attack. The giant boss screams, using the Moonlight Slash. It lessens the HP of the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight roars, using Giant's Barrage, attacking the giant boss. They both attack each other one hit after another, beating each other. Lin Ye orders Mumu to use her ultimate and orders Baiji to buff them with her enchantment skills. Mumu attacks with Flame Sword Chi and Baiji attacks with Bionic Tears and Poison Bubbles. When Lin Ye looks dead in the eye, he says he will finish this, casting the spell Fall in Hell, and they finally defeat the giant boss. When the prompt shows up telling them Lin Ye leveled up to 10, Baiji to level 7, and Mumu to level 8, they all hug in happiness. Baiji screams, asking Mumu that she never heard that someone got upgraded 2 times in a row. She screams that this is amazing. She hugs Mumu, saying that she is a good luck charm. When Lin Ye reads the stats, he says that's why he added her to the team. When the diamond chest opens, they obtain diamond level skills and platinum level equipment and 15 free attributes for each member. They obtain White Knight Platinum Plate and White Spirit Knight Spear, and also get 3 Marrow Ash, a Heart of Giant portable equipment, and the Giant's level skills that grant a shield for 5 seconds. They also get shield breaking effects for weapons and lightning paper too. And lastly, Rising Tide, the priest exclusive skill, heals all allies within 2 minutes. He looks at it, saying this skill is not bad at all. He says that his reversal talent does not buff these, but it is more like boss control skills. After reversal, the weapon like the spear will debuff and fasten him more, and Rising Tide will help him too, and he has to learn Rising Tide as well. He thinks to himself that the reversal of heaven and earth is clear, and it can even change the essence of a skill. Later, he tells the girls that he has to inform the academy in Shangguan about the disappearance of the Curse Teacher and the reduction of difficulty in the dungeon. He smirks, saying that this will cause quite a stir. The next day in the principal's office, he screams in disbelief, asking them if Lin Ye wiped out the giant in the dungeon. He slams his hands on the desk and asks for specifications about the giant with Calamity level 5 and SS rank. The other person confirms it, saying that once he cleared the dungeon, Lin Ye called him and told him, and when he asked the authorities, they confirmed it too. He tells them that Lin Ye also got the entry pass for the Forgotten Nest. He then explains that only 73 human professionals have ever entered that nest, and out of those, 34 sacrificed themselves and never came out. They cannot attempt a second time. The man with glasses says that Lin Ye needs to enter while stuck at level 15 without advancing to level 16. He says Lin Ye is such a promising professional for the Alliance, but once inside, it will all be up to him. The old man says it is great, just great, and that all the academies should thank him. He says they must hold a commendation ceremony. He says that previously he suggested sealing that dungeon, but it was opposed by all sides. The glasses man says that quality over quantity matters and that the weak students should be eliminated. The Alliance will not support them otherwise. Then a girl comes in banging the door, apologizing to the principal. She shows her phone and says they are experiencing some trouble with Lin Ye's team. After the fight, the media started blowing up, calling Lin Ye a demon. Some people filmed him frame by frame, claiming he has an unbreakable talent. She says she agrees Lin Ye is a great student and all, but they should take some action because he is the pride of their academy, and they should do something to protect Lin Ye's name. The principal tells Sumumu that he understands how she feels. The white-haired man assures her that he will verify everything immediately. People started guessing Lin Ye is a fallen one. The glasses man says Lin Ye is just a student, so why is everyone judging him like that? They are too quick to judge. The white-haired man says he will go with Sue to verify everything. When Lin Ye arrives, he says he needs a test. He requests a demon aura test, and that is how the news got out. The white-haired man and the glasses man stamp the approval papers. When he arrives, people get shocked that he himself requested the demon aura test. When he speaks, everything goes quiet and nervousness fills the air. He says that if they are so scared, then they should not be reporters. A girl tells a female reporter to speak up and asks why she went so quiet. Another one says they were just questioning the Alliance. So why is everyone quiet now? When the crowd gets smaller, the demon aura test begins. They tell Lin Ye to step into the holy chamber. He takes his jacket off and goes in, saying, "Here we go." His friend holding his jacket thinks to himself that Lin Ye shouldn't have to do this, because people will always judge anyway. Lin Ye says he isn't worried about the people. He is worried about the ones who trust him, and he wants them to trust him forever. The test loads up to 15%. They hope for a good result. Finally, it completes, and the demon aura test shows 0 demon contact. His friend says happily that he will get the report printed right away. People scream, shocked that it was truly 0% demon contact. The crowd goes wild, chanting that the night god is unbeatable and trustworthy. Huang Feng secretly tails Lin and spots him carrying treats he bought for Su Mumu and Bai Zhi. He immediately starts judging him, thinking Lin has become too relaxed and self-indulgent. While complaining, he suddenly realizes no one else is around, and right then our guy lightly kicks him from behind, making him stumble. Feng acts exaggeratedly shocked, but our bro points out that spying on someone is even worse. Afterwards, Feng insists he came to give a warning, saying Lin must have run into the dark creature that tempts humans. The protagonist downplays it, saying he only met some corrupted individuals who tried to bring him something. Feng accuses him of pretending to be tough, and claims he purposely allowed Lin to barely win so the real demon would appear. Moreover, he urges our guy to inform the Alliance and help them trace that creature. After that, Lin responds with sarcasm, implying Feng must be the one the demon targeted but turned himself in willingly. Indeed, Feng brags loudly about being superior in every way, and says those creatures aren't worthy of influencing him. Our bro thinks to himself that Feng's attitude needs serious work, but his ability to resist corruption is genuinely impressive. Our guy adds that he also has no interest in those dark beings, and that his gifts lie far beyond what they can touch. After hearing this, Feng gets flustered, says he doesn't believe Lin, and announces that he's going to file a report. Lin considers reporting the earlier issue to Huang Tiangi, but before he can act, a student fan group from Zhangcheng's first professional academy messages him excitedly, saying they've caught someone spreading lies about him. Our guy asks who it is, and he reveals it's Cao Yuan, a classmate who secretly used Lin's dungeon tips. He altered them, and sold them, and then badmouthed him in private chats, and they even have screenshots. After that, our bro instructs them to block Cao Yuan from all future resources, and asks them to send the proof so he can post an official statement on the Alliance forum. Some of the students want to confront Cao Yuan physically, but Lin tells them not to ruin their future over someone unimportant. He further explains the best punishment for someone who cheated is losing access to resources that help them grow stronger. He then offers a reward that if they hand Cao Yuan over to the academy, they'll get a special dungeon guide he hasn't released publicly. After hearing this, the whole group becomes excited, asking if such guides really exist. Lin assures them he can provide strategies for any dungeon they want, and tells them to report others who bought those illegal copies too. Those people will be permanently barred from his future materials. The group agrees immediately, and our hero then shares a preview of a new Land of Skeletons guide, astonishing everyone with how effortlessly he describes clearing extremely difficult conditions. The students praise him and beg for more. Finally, Lin instructs them to spread the word that anyone who buys or shares pirated versions of his guides will never receive his real ones again. The group fires up, talking about resisting piracy and rushing off to act on his orders. The group announces a strict new rule that from this moment on, everyone must remove any copied versions of Lin Ye's dungeon guides. Also, if anyone is caught stealing or hiding such material, he will be permanently banned from receiving his strategies. Some students complain about wanting to save money, and a few even defend Cao Yuan, but others quickly shut them down, reminding everyone that Lin Ye spent serious effort making those guides. They point out that people want top-tier results while paying almost nothing, which is unfair. When someone doubts the quality of his upcoming releases, the group mentions the new Land of Skeletons truancy guide, saying they already got a sneak peek. That immediately excites everyone, and they start begging for access. The moderators warn that if anyone tries to defend the rule breakers, those accounts will also be prohibited from future content. Many members quickly delete their pirated copies and declare their loyalty to Lin Ye, with some even offering high prices just to join his private group. New people pour into the fan group at an overwhelming rate, all wanting his official guides that cover every major dungeon and update continuously. The protagonist is surprised at how fast the group grows, but he understands that being firm about piracy is more effective than fighting physically. By setting clear consequences, he protects his income and stops others from undercutting him. After things stabilize, our bro reviews his current status and notes his priest class, his level, and his physical and mental stats. He also lists his high-grade equipment, including the Demon Emperor set, movement and teleportation tools, and a protective ring. His rare awakened ability allows him to reverse power levels, and his skill set ranges from recovery abilities to moves that drain enemies, control space, support allies, and deal large-scale damage across the battlefield. The protagonist reviews his awakened talent, which lets him flip the nature of any ability that affects him. At its current stage, recovery spells turn into attacks, offensive skills convert into healing, helpful boosts become harmful effects, and weakening skills turn into enhancements. Additionally, he can switch this ability on or off whenever he wants. It also slightly lowers the energy needed for his abilities and shortens cooldown times, aside from limitations related to equipment. To upgrade it further, He needs to reach level 20 and defeat 10,000 creatures using this reversal feature. Further, he notes that the skill seems to be developing in an extremely destructive direction, but he decides to postpone upgrading until after his big exam. With the boost from his recent progress, his intelligence stat is close to 150, and he plans to push that base number higher before improving his other traits like agility, spirit, and durability. Even now, these supporting stats already place him among the best in his year. Lin then contacts Zhao Chuhong to purchase high-quality priest gear. He requests gold-grade items such as a weapon, footwear, a pendant, and a necklace, later sending exact specifications. Zhao explains that obtaining anything above the gold tier is hard, so gold tier options are provided instead. After looking through the listed stats, advantages, and prices, Lin selects a priest staff, a bone necklace, and a jade pendant, deciding that none of the shoe options fit his needs. The cost for those items comes to 350,000, and Lin adds a request for upgrade materials to enhance several pieces of equipment to level 10. Zhao warns that upgrading now may not be efficient, but our bro insists. The total, including all forging expenses, reaches 4 million alliance coins, which our hero pays. The items he buys each come with notable benefits. The bone necklace raises his durability, increases health recovery, and boosts both magical and physical defense. The white jade pendant raises intelligence and spirit and provides a protective white bird that shields him from a large portion of incoming magical damage. The priest-exclusive staff improves intelligence and gives a temporary attack boost to targets affected by his healing techniques. Once everything is prepared, Lin begins strengthening his equipment. Lin finishes upgrading all his gear, bringing each item in his regalia set, healing staff, bone necklace, and jade pendant, to the highest enhancement level. With every piece boosted, he feels confident that this setup will be enough to earn the top grade in the Island of Death, knowing that dungeon rewards there can vary from excellent to disappointing. While he is thinking about this, our guy hears something in his home and soon notices Mumu quietly inside his room, to which the protagonist is surprised she entered without him noticing. Afterwards, Mumu explains she borrowed his bathroom because the hot water in her room isn't working properly. Lin offers to help, but she quickly refuses. She then asks if he has a moment because she wants to discuss something with him. Before continuing, our bro tells her to dry her hair and put on something warm so she doesn't get sick, rushing off to change while he waits. 5 minutes later, Lin asks Mumu what she wants to talk about, to which she nervously brings up Baiji. She further explains that Baiji once told her she isn't fully comfortable with the Greatsword class and still struggles when clearing dungeons alone, even after upgrading her gear. The protagonist is surprised since Baiji never mentioned it to him, though he thinks the class is manageable, and adds that if they can find the item needed for a job change, Baiji could switch to something that suits her more. After that, our guy plans to ask Huang Tianqi about it, and says that Baiji herself must decide if she truly wants a different path. Mumu feels relieved, but as she tries to leave, Lin stops her, sensing she has something personal to say. After hesitating, she admits she feels the distance between them growing ever since Lin awakened his talent and reached level 11. She recalls how they were always together since childhood, expecting they would remain the closest partners even after gaining abilities. But now she feels overshadowed, believing the protagonist no longer relies on her because he can earn rare rewards and draw everyone's attention on his own, while she only handles small tasks. As they advance, she feels more and more like she's holding him back instead of contributing meaningfully. Our hero tells Mumu she's worrying too much, but she argues that he doesn't understand how discouraging it feels to fall behind someone you admire. Moreover, she insists she doesn't want to depend on him anymore. Hearing that, the protagonist decides to push her toward improvement and tells her that from now on she needs a strict routine. No more junk food, no late night eating, and early morning training at 5 a.m. unless they have a dungeon to clear. Furthermore, our bro explains the training will help her become quicker. When she questions whether stats alone determine agility, he points out she hasn't invested enough yet. Overwhelmed, she tears up, and Lin hands her a special item, the Heart of the Giant, saying it's the perfect support tool for her right now, especially since her clone ability can boost its effectiveness. Afterwards, he encourages her, telling her she has huge potential. After hearing this, Mumu vows to stop snacking and work harder. Lin sighs to himself about how practical gifts seem to motivate her. Then she suddenly declares she wants to test her mimicry ability, and confidently lists all the things she can do: massages, cooking, and cleaning, warning him to expect her full effort, leaving Lin confused. Baiji comes over. Mumu becomes excited after seeing her, and Lin thanks her for handling the errand. After that, Baiji then asks if our hero plans to head into the Land of Death right away without resting. Suddenly, Lin receives a temporary blessing that boosts any chest he earns in a dungeon for the next day. Next, the protagonist says he's fine and tells the girls they should relax instead. Moreover, our guy suggests that Baiji and Mumu take a break and watch a movie since balancing rest with work helps them recover better. Meanwhile, he uses the stone sword key to open the portal to the land of death and chooses the hardest mode. Mumu panics when she realizes he selected the catastrophic difficulty, but Lin steps inside anyway. The dungeon is described as a deadly zone filled with undead creatures that devour anything alive. To his surprise, the entrance is calmer than expected. However, as soon as he moves forward, the energy he carries triggers the awakening of multiple powerful undead beings, each one sensing his presence and rising in response, including gold-tier soldiers with strong constitution, moderate strength, and deadly skills like resentful fire and wrath of the undead. To handle them, Lin summons the Holy Sword Crown illuminating crimson flame. It temporarily boosts his abilities, dealing massive damage, reducing incoming damage, and applying sacred flame effects. Lin considers the sword a shortcut but readies it for use. The dungeon requires surviving 2 hours under the undead assault. It defeats at least one secret realm boss and completes advanced objectives such as killing all bosses, destroying the Death Altar, and clearing all undead without relying on the Holy Sword, all before the Holy Knights arrive. After that, Lin activates reversing the radiance of all the stars and his reversal divine healing method. Calamity arrives instantly, dealing 1304 damage and wiping out the first wave of gold-tier undead in a second. Thanks to his fully upgraded Demon Emperor set that provides a 90% healing bonus, without needing the ultimate skill Emerald Sea Rising. A second wave appears, prompting the protagonist to break through the blockade, head inside to defeat the boss and destroy the Death Altar, relying on the support of his two teammates. To boost his performance, he uses several items. A greater acceleration potion to increase movement speed for 5 minutes. A pill from the Windfalcon egg to temporarily raise agility by 50 points. Thunder liquid to maintain a 5-minute continuous thunder flash dash effect to further increase speed, and smoked earth chicken to temporarily increase constitution. The protagonist activates his reversal ability. He then examines the Death Altar, a structure with 10,000 durability, low defense, and no attack power, which constantly calls undead from the underworld. Also, there are 5 of these altars in the Land of Death, each guarded by a secret realm boss. Destroying one stops new undead from appearing in that area, although the ones already summoned stay. Next, he confronts the giant zombie butcher, a level 15 monster with equal stats in every attribute and several deadly abilities such as plague spread, corpse toxins, regeneration, splitting into smaller versions, hook attacks, fatal strikes, and a stomach mouth used to devour enemies. Lin uses a reversal control skill to immobilize the giant undead, needing only half a minute before launching a chain of reversal attacks that break the altar and kill the butcher. After it dies, the creature divides into 2 smaller butcher zombies, which he also destroys with the plunder effect. This triggers the awakening of 2 major undead bosses, Skeleton Hing and Undead Lich. Afterwards, our hero notes that despite the dungeon being catastrophe level, the level limit makes it manageable for him. He summons his gold-tier Dark Curse Rider to assist him for an hour, preparing to face these awakened bosses. Skeleton Hing, who strengthens all nearby undead with powerful auras and group-based tactics. The Undead Lich, a high-level necromancer capable of advanced dark magic like death waves, frost spells, gravitational attacks, and blood-freezing techniques. After that, Lin issues orders to finish them. The shield-bearing warrior addresses Lin as his master, to which our guy responds with irritation before ordering him to act. After that, the warrior follows his command and uses Moonlight Thrust, striking the Undead Lich. She reacts in pain as her curse shield activates. This shield can return all magic damage taken within 3 seconds back to whoever cast it. She cries out again and calls for the Lich King to support her, but our guy steps in, telling her that he is her real opponent. He unleashes the reverse tide of the Azure Sea, pushing the Lich King into a weakened, withered condition. The shield warrior then performs Rising Dragon Slash with 3 rapid hits, followed by the Lich's explosive curse attack. The Undead Lich tries to counter with Black Hole, preparing to destroy herself in the process. Our hero quickly warns his shield warrior that she is about to sacrifice her remaining life to drag him down, activating Blood Freeze. It is a suicidal spell that consumes her soul, releases a massive burst of ice magic, deals heavy freezing damage, and locks enemies in place. Shocked by the outcome, she realizes too late that she has failed, and the protagonist confirms that the target has been defeated and praises the shield warrior for his performance. In the end, the protagonist swings his sword with the force of disaster strikes, while the Lich King scoffs at humanity and warns that a greater darkness still awaits. With both the Lich King and the Undead Lich defeated, the important task of eliminating a secret realm boss is completed. This triggers the portal to open, allowing departure and granting rewards based on how many objectives were fulfilled. Nearby, the Darkwing Dragon, once the Dark Curse Knight's companion, remains mostly unused despite their past bond. Since this altar has also fallen, the undead no longer pose any danger. Our guy decides they should tidy up later and advance to the next zone first, because only the final 2 bosses remain. Lin notes that encountering them here saves him a long journey and extra fighting. After that, Our bro notices the enemies catching sight of them and warns his companion to stay alert. The Death Dragon appears first, a revived ice-controlling beast strengthened by death energy. It stands at level 15 with diamond-grade qualities and skills that revolve around freezing power, heavy blows, and slowing effects. Beside it is the Daughter of Death, once an elven ranger who fought for justice before being revived into a dark archer whose enchanted arrows can turn the fallen into undead followers. Lin jokes that this one-time dungeon is more terrifying than his teacher, especially since it leaves no chance for an SSS rating. He then unleashes two powerful reversal techniques, flooding the area with overwhelming forces. The Daughter of Death furiously calls him an insignificant human for striking first, to which our guy responds by promising to show her a real surprise. She fires a deadly pin toward him, while the Death Dragon's freezing breath slams into Lin twice, but his healing offsets the damage. His abilities wipe one freezing effect, sharply boost his speed, and greatly raise his strength. The Daughter of Death is shocked that her shot failed despite aiming directly at his heart, and realizes she must have immunity to control attacks. Feeling something is off, she quickly orders the Death Dragon to advance first. Health rises in quick bursts, first by 512, then by 539, breaking one frozen effect in the process. Another surge lifts it by 699, clearing the frozen state from Lin as well. During this moment, the Daughter of Death releases a rapid shower of arrows toward the shield bearer, yet every shot fails to land. Her frustration grows as she realizes how fast the opponent is moving. Moreover, she refuses to let him approach and calls every undead under her command, forcing them to form a wall to block the enemy. She boosts herself with silence magic and a draining spell, gaining more health. Since her opponents rely on close fighting, she decides to use talismans that temporarily control living beings. The stronger the target, the shorter the control time, ranging from 1 second to a full minute, and this control only ends if she is defeated. Under this effect, she can force the controlled target to harm themselves repeatedly for heavy damage until the talisman ends. Even a single second of control is enough for her, and she aims at the protagonist with confidence. During this, the Dark Talisman Rider becomes heavily slowed. Movement drops sharply, attack speed falls, and even attack strength decreases. Lin quickly calls for a defensive stance. The rider forms a heavy black shield that greatly reduces damage but slows them even more. The Daughter of Death tries to get around the shield, believing that once she reaches an opening, she can finish the fight. She thinks her opponent is nearly out of health and prepares to strike, planning to move on to the others afterward. But our guy triggers a reversed spell that cancels harmful effects and binds the enemy. A large health recovery follows, and negative conditions are removed, turning the situation in Lin's favor. The Daughter of Death is shocked that Lin is still standing. After that, the protagonist immediately orders a shield charge to break her action, then follows up with a powerful upward strike. The Death Dragon falls first, and the Daughter of Death accuses them of fighting unfairly, to which Lin answers with a reversed healing technique mixed with destructive force, which ends the Daughter of Death for good. After that, Lin divides the work so that he takes one direction, while his companion clears the opposite side. Our hero believes that once they fully remove the altar's influence, the dungeon will be finished. Despite its unusual layout, he realizes the challenge isn't as hard as expected, and unleashes an ability that sweeps across the undead like a wave, allowing them to finish everything in less than 10 minutes, well within the 2-hour limit required for the fourth task. A system notice confirms they have defeated every undead in the area, and successfully completed the first 4 objectives. However, our bro senses something is still off. A system alert announces that the shadow form of the dual-winged angel hero is descending, opening a 5th hidden mission called Destiny's Choice. 2 options appear. The first is accepting divine blessing, which means handing over every collected undead soul to the Holy Sword, and exiting the realm with an immediate S-level rating, though not the highest one. The second option is choosing the Godslayer path, which requires defeating hero's avatar. Success grants a rating higher than SSS, but failure drops the score all the way to C. The protagonist realizes this means the dungeon hides a rating above SSS, something most people probably don't even know exists. He wonders if veteran adventurers kept it secret, but then reasons they wouldn't hide it since hardly anyone could trigger such a requirement. Also, he considers that secret realms evolve, so it's possible this upper tier was created beyond human awareness. To him, this new rating feels as unreachable as ancient people trying to reach space. Another alert mentions the Dark Curse Knight retreating while its summon cooldown begins. Suddenly, immense pressure fills the area, and our guy thinks the presence resembles the highest authority of the angelic order. Yet the hint suggests he should be facing only an avatar, not the real being. After that, he looks for where the projection will appear. The system then reveals the details. A level 37 shadow manifestation of the dual-winged angel hero, far beyond the recommended level for challengers. Many of its attributes are hidden, but it is clearly designed to overpower death-aligned opponents. When the avatar arrives, it addresses Lin directly and commends him for cleansing the land. It expresses gratitude on behalf of the Holy Kingdom, declaring that the undead deserve to be sealed away once more. Afterwards, the angel instructs Lin to hand over the holy sword and leave the area. Our hero pauses, questioning why he receives no reward after clearing every undead in the realm. After hearing this, Angel Hero reacts sharply, treating Lin's question as insolence and reminding him that mortals should be thankful and depart without interfering. Our hero notices how the angel speaks from a position far above humanity, treating people like disposable tools rather than allies. What's more, Angel Hero mentions cleanup work, for which Lin suspects there is something else happening behind the scenes, something the angel wants credit for even though Lin was the one who handled the danger. Later, our bro challenges this attitude and refuses to let the angel take the recognition for his efforts, to which Hero belittles humans, calling them insignificant beings meant to serve the Holy Kingdom, and accuses Lin of defying sacred will. Our hero decides he won't listen any longer and launches an attack, activating Plunder without hesitation, to which Hero then calls down divine power as the clash begins. Angel Hero unleashes powerful attacks, showing every weakness Lin has, yet claiming divine punishment will catch him. The angel strikes with the Scarlet Flame Crown and calls down thunder, but our hero continuously restores his health, reversing damage and shining with healing light. Even when one strike reduces his health, he quickly recovers and gains a damage boost. Angel Hero keeps shouting judgment spells, yet our bro notices the angel's behavior feels less threatening now, almost as if this version isn't the true form. After that, the angel becomes frustrated, shocked that none of the attacks, close range, long range, physical, or magical, are harming Lin. Instead, they keep restoring him, to which the protagonist responds, saying that if the angel had witnessed how he defeated earlier bosses, this wouldn't be surprising at all. Angel Hero is stunned that Lin seems untouchable and demands to know if he has some kind of invincible power, but Lin says the angel can barely harm him at all. The protagonist then unleashes a reversal skill that slows the angel's phantom 3 times, leaving it stuck in place with weakened strength and defense. He follows up with another reversed healing strike that causes heavy bleeding and another draining move that takes even more health. With these hits, the Phantom Angel collapses, marking the dungeon's completion. The system rewards Lin with a diamond-grade chest for clearing it and another diamond chest for meeting every hidden requirement, granting him the highest SSS score. As the realm dissolves, our guy gathers his strength to receive a personal reward and gains a rare evolving weapon called Flashing Spirit Moonshade, unique only to him. Later, the protagonist examines the special weapon he just earned, a rare item called Flashing Spirit Moonshade. It is a personal evolving weapon only he can use, and even at its first stage, it raises all his stats and provides 3 modes. One focused on healing, one built for heavy destruction, and one that mixes damage with self-recovery. The weapon can grow stronger when fed similar priest weapons, unlocking even more abilities. Also, its healing mode lets him restore others, and use a moonlight-based skill. The destructive mode gives him a devastating area attack, and the shadow mode lets him dodge everything for a moment and teleport. Indeed, Lin notices that the weapon is already powerful enough to rival treasure from the dungeon, which makes him wonder if its final rank could surpass the diamond tier. After opening both diamond chests, he gains many upgrades, extra attribute points, rare equipment, fast attack skills, accessories like an ancient dragon necklace and items with special effects. With all points added to intelligence, his stats now resemble those of someone near level 20, even though he is only level 11. His gear set, awakened talent and reversal-based abilities make him far stronger than before. Since his luck buff is still active, he considers challenging another dungeon. But when our hero steps outside from the dungeon, he finds Chao waiting. Chao is furious, blaming Lin for ruining his reputation, damaging his relationships, and causing people to push him toward quitting school. Meanwhile, Lin stays calm and remembers how he only intended to stop Chao from gaining attribute points, never expecting the situation to grow this extreme. Further on, our guy strikes back with Chao's own rod and reveals that Chao's actions involved lies and rumor spreading, not simply taking a guide. During the confrontation, the protagonist notices a dark, unnatural force rising from Chao, and he recognizes it as demonic energy. Lin realizes something is wrong with Chao as a strange presence echoes in the background. The voice of Lord Meigao tears into Chao's mind, calling him a useless clown that everyone ignores and despises. The voice pushes him deeper into anger, insisting that if he refuses to stay at the bottom, even more people will hate him. After this, Chao breaks down and screams that he wants to kill Lin. At the same time, Lord Meigao tempts him with promises of overwhelming power, urging him to abandon his humanity and accept the abyss. In the meantime, Chao finally gives in and asks for that forbidden strength. His body twists as he transforms into a fallen one. The protagonist watches this change and instantly understands that an abyss demon has already taken over Chao. Chao laughs wildly as the new power floods through him, amazed by the strength burning inside his body. Despite that, our hero gives him one last chance to stop, knowing the rules clearly allow professionals to kill a fallen one to protect innocent lives. If Chao continues on this path, our bro will be forced to end him. Meanwhile, Cao Yun bursts into crazed laughter, convinced the protagonist is finally going to pay for everything. He unleashes a corrupted sword strike powered by the abyss, and the moment that force hits, Lin's body is weakened. Plus, his stats drop sharply, his defenses crumble, and a bleeding effect starts draining his health. At the same time, Lin summons his power. Since Cao insists on pushing this fight, our bro prepares his own blade technique, and his attack lands cleanly. Even though Cao now carries abyss strength, the gap is still too large. Cao, shaken, realizes Lin's strike dealt huge damage even while weakened. After that, our guy points out that Cao is still no more than the equivalent of a basic boss to him. Cao refuses to accept it and screams that Lin will die, accusing him of relying on pure strength despite being a priest. During this, our hero thinks ahead and decides not to reveal his strongest reversal ability, because abyss demons are likely observing the fight, and if they discover he holds an invincibility-type power, they could escape and alert others, putting him at a disadvantage. Moreover, Lin knows that Chao never had strong judgment or proper understanding of combat. Plus, Cao doesn't even realize there was extra magic damage hidden within the physical strike. Lin now plans to use this fight as bait to draw out any abyss demons watching from the shadows. Further ahead, our guy focuses on keeping Cao alive just long enough to lure out the hidden demons. At the same time, he grows annoyed by how weak Chao still is, even after absorbing abyss power. A swordsman boosted this much still loses to a priest, which shows how little potential Cao ever had. To the protagonist, he's nothing more than a disposable pawn. Meanwhile, the demon influencing Chao begins plotting. It wants Lin dead, believing that if Lin falls, Huang Xiaofeng's trust in Lin's strength will shatter, and with that trust gone, Huang could be manipulated and dragged into Meigao's forces. The demon considers two options: corrupting Huang through Lin, or convincing Lin directly. In the end, it prefers using Lin's death as the spark. During the clash, Lin loses more health, though he restores himself instantly with a cleansing ability that cancels the bleed. Chao freezes for a moment, shocked by the sudden recovery. At that point, our bro states that the one standing before him isn't Cao anymore. Instead, it's the abyss demon wearing his body. In the meantime, the demon realizes the Alliance is already heading toward this location, and becomes impatient. It decides to end the fight quickly, urging Lin to die or to surrender himself to the abyss. Our hero instantly recognizes that the demon has swallowed the bait. He plays along, pretending to consider the offer and questions what the abyss can even provide that would make joining worthwhile, pushing the demon to reveal its intentions. The demon, however, acts like its offer alone should be convincing, unaware that Lin is stalling for time. In the meantime, Cao proudly displays the abyss energy rotating around him, acting as if this new strength makes him unstoppable. Lin studies the change with curiosity, finding the transformation more amusing than frightening. He shifts the conversation toward the demon's interests, and casually brings up Huang Xiaofeng, reminding the creature how Huang once rejected its offer and even scolded its allies. Hearing this, the demon instantly reacts. It snaps that Huang was originally chosen by it, but the boy refused and even mocked the abyss. The only reason they still wanted him was because his potential made him a perfect fit for abyssal corruption. Taking advantage of the demon's frustration, the protagonist begins weaving a completely fabricated story. He claims he already earned the Alliance's trust, and will climb their ranks until he reaches their inner circle. From there, he says he'll quietly harm everything, dragging humanity into ruin and wiping out the entire world. Chao, possessed and unstable, can't understand the motive and questions why someone so admired would want to destroy everything. Our bro answers with a cold explanation that humans pretend to be noble but step on each other whenever it benefits them. Further, he describes how so-called protectors failed his family, leaving his parents to sacrifice themselves so he could live. To him, the world runs on cruelty, not compassion, and no one is guiltless. Hearing this twisted reasoning, the demon grows excited. It believes Lin's bitterness is real, thinking it has finally found someone who shares its worldview. The abyss demon tries to tempt the protagonist with its power and asks him to join it to gain ultimate strength, to which Lin pretends to accept but actually prepares to attack. He summons his special moonlight sword and activates its destructive mode. The demon is surprised and cannot react in time and realizes he has been tricked. Moving forward, our bro uses his skills to hit the demon repeatedly, taking advantage of buffs that make his attack stronger. The demon becomes weak and burns, which lowers its attack power a lot. Lin finishes the fight quickly, and the sword begins absorbing the demon's remaining soul. This process increases the sword's power and all its stats. Indeed, our hero realizes that weapons that grow can get stronger by absorbing souls of abyss creatures, and he wonders if other creatures' souls could also improve the weapon. People nearby are confused because they can't see what happened during the fight. They notice someone collapsed on the ground and wonder if the city's trained professionals have arrived yet. Someone assures them that the city patrol has already been alerted and should reach the area very soon. Meanwhile, Lin thinks to himself that he should report the discovery about his growth-type weapon, specifically that it can take in the leftover soul of an abyss demon, to the Alliance. As he is about to leave, the patrol suddenly appears. The officers immediately point at him and tell him to drop his equipment and place his weapon on the floor. The protagonist wasn't surprised since he expected them to appear. They shout again, ordering him to raise his hands and warning that they can attack if he resists, to which our hero cooperates. One of the patrolling professionals uses a weak poison-type paralysis skill on him. It's meant to temporarily immobilize suspects so no one gets hurt, and the effect is gentle enough that he doesn't feel pain. These professionals are responsible for keeping the city secure, and using paralysis is their standard safety routine. They then spread out to inspect the battlefield, treat the wounded, talk to the people watching, and check for any clues. A moment later, one of the officers reports back that the badly injured person lying unconscious is a student, but he has traces of abyss energy inside him, meaning he was corrupted by an abyss demon. The officer also points out that there is a corpse from an abyss demon at the scene as well. The patrol team inspects the scene and discovers something shocking: the remains of a level 20 abyss demon. Its body is covered in blade marks, yet only a skeleton is left, as if something drained it completely. The officers can't believe that the young man they just restrained could be responsible for killing it. They check Lin Ye's information, a level 11 student from the city's main academy. The idea that someone at his level defeated such a creature seems impossible, and the officers are stunned because they recognize him as the talented student people often talk about. The squad captain arrives and introduces himself as Wang Machao from the Alliance's Abyss Demon Extermination Task Force. He orders the paralysis on Lin to be removed and begins questioning him. After that, he asks if the protagonist was the one who took down the Abyss Demon, and whether the severely injured student nearby turned into a corrupted fighter under the demon's influence. Lin confirms everything, and further explains that the wounded student is Chao Yuan, who transformed and attempted to kill him, so he acted in self-defense. When the captain asks how the demon was forced into its real form, Lin suggests that it had been secretly watching its chosen targets, and acted quickly to empower Chao Yuan. Because of that, it briefly revealed its true self, giving our bro the chance to trap it. The captain is stunned, because deceiving an abyss creature is extremely difficult even for seasoned professionals. Yet Lin not only handled a corrupted opponent and the demon's true form at the same time, but he also managed to leave Chao Yuan alive with exactly 1% health, a level of control even full professionals struggle to achieve. Impressed but needing to investigate further, Captain Wang politely requests Lin to accompany them to the Alliance branch for proper questioning. One of the soldiers reacts with surprise when he realizes the student involved is Lin Ye, someone widely known for his achievements. Indeed, Wang stays focused on the emergency, explaining that the safety of the city comes first, so the usual rules must be followed. Moreover, Wang warns that this situation might disrupt Lin Ye's upcoming professional test, and he can't relax the procedure for him. The protagonist stays calm and expresses full support for the team's efforts against the Abyss demons. Meanwhile, another superior steps in and makes a firm decision, and states that our hero does not need to be taken in for questioning or monitoring. Wang is shocked because this goes against the usual protocol and worries about being punished for ignoring the rules. The superior reassures him by explaining that the choice isn't his alone. The headquarters president and all department heads have agreed, and they decide to delay the case until after our bro completes his professional test. This puts Wang at ease, knowing he won't face consequences. The superior brings up Lin Ye's past achievement, explaining that he once defeated the well-known curse teacher completely on his own and earned access to the Forgotten Lair. Wang, who always assumed the stories were exaggerated, starts rethinking everything after seeing Lin Ye's calm behavior. He begins to wonder whether the protagonist possesses an extraordinary gift or a unique ability that naturally restrains dark-type enemies. Further, our hero explains that the demon they encountered, Mego, is the same creature that previously tried to influence Huang Xiaofeng, and when that attempt failed, it targeted Chao Yuan instead. After hearing this, the superior is impressed by how quickly Lin Ye connects the events, so he continues without hiding anything. The superior adds that Huang Xiaofeng was revealed to have an extremely rare trait linked to corruption, something that appears in very few people. The protagonist explains further that he manipulated the demon easily because Huang Xiaofeng constantly resisted the creature and frequently mentioned Lin Ye in front of it. This made the demon assume there was hostility between them, leading it to believe that replacing the protagonist would help win Huang Xiaofeng over. The superior bursts into admiration, praising Lin Ye for defeating the demon, capturing the corrupted individual alive, and gathering valuable intel, all tasks that even experienced professionals sometimes fail to accomplish. Additionally, he prepares to let Lin Ye continue his preparations without interruption. Before leaving, our bro stops him and says there's one more thing he wants to reveal, but it requires privacy, and he politely requests that the area be cleared of everyone who isn't directly involved. The boss orders Ma Chao to clear the field since Lin Ye told him he needed privacy. He instructs Ma Chao to take their designated team but leave their equipment for Lin Ye. Ma Chao nods along to his boss's instructions and orders his division to get into formation and clear the field. Soon, the armed forces step back, leaving Ma Chao with Lin Ye. Ma Chao apologizes to Lin Ye for his reckless behavior and hands his phone back to him. Once Lin Ye is satisfied that no one is invading their privacy, he gets back to the boss. The boss asks what he wanted to tell him, and Lin Ye shows his moonshade, explaining that spectral moonshade was obtained by him as a weapon after beating Death Valley. It was needed in order to kill the Abyss Demon, and the weapon later absorbed the demon's power within it. The boss is shocked at the limitless possibilities, but Lin Ye tells him that very little is known about self-improving weapons like moonshade. Even the best libraries around the city do not have proper information about them. This made him wonder about the weapon's use, if it could kill real-life enemies like the Abyss Demon and level up while doing so. The boss explains that such self-improvement weapons are insanely rare, and since the establishment of the Union, only 3 have ever surfaced and were recorded. He says he cannot provide classified information, but from what he knows, self-improvement weapons increase EXP through defeating enemies inside dungeons, and no weapon in real life provides such growth. Lin Ye raises his weapon and asks if he is the first person ever to do that. The boss smiles and nods, thanking him for providing such important and personal information to the Union and trusting them with it. Lin Ye then says he wants to share his opinion about the weapon. He believes Spectral Moonshade is the first weapon ever to achieve this, but if the first exists, then a second must exist too. He thinks it is not possible for the weapon to exist in only one piece. From now on, more weapons or tools that humans are not aware of may appear to fight and counter the Abyss Demons, which he believes is a great thing for humanity. The boss agrees, delighted to hear this, but tells him the information must remain confidential. He warns him not to tell anyone because, according to the old saying, possession of wealth brings trouble, and since he possesses something extremely rare, envy will follow. The boss adds that there are not many young people like him who can see the bigger picture. The Union will be stronger and greater with someone like him. He ends by telling Lin Ye that he will inform the higher-ups and they will take the matter seriously. For Lin Ye, what is important now is to take his professional exam and the match, and he is free to contact the Union regarding this matter. With that, Lin Ye ends the call. He walks toward Ma Chao to hand the phone back. Ma Chao tells him he is looking forward to seeing Lin Ye around the Union and hopes he becomes one of them, and tells him to call him Old Wang from now on. Lin Ye nods, saying he will take his leave now, and leaves after calling Ma Chao Old Wang. On the other side, the boss asks Tian Qi about his talk with Lin Ye. Tian Qi tells him that Lin Ye is insanely talented, calm, and able to see the bigger picture. Guanyin is the only other kid near Lin Ye's age who is like him and just as talented. He adds that he once thought Guanyin would be the leader of this generation, but now that Lin Ye is here, it is hard to say. The boss laughs, saying that young people have their own way of handling things. But the way Lin Ye is always collecting weapons targeting demons around dungeons shows he is someone with infinite potential. Lin Ye enters his building and yells that he is home after opening the door. Mumu hides behind the sofa, about to yell and scare him, but Lin Ye spots her before she can shout, calling her out for her prank. Mumu huffs in anger, telling him to pretend to get scared for once. Lin Ye calls her out again for hiding and sneaking snacks at home. She promises him she will work hard. Mumu gets up from behind the sofa, opens her stats, and tells Lin Ye to look at her level. She smirks and says she is also level 10 now, leaving him shocked by her fast upgrade. Mumu asks if she did good and if he is satisfied with her development, then asks if it's possible to go to the dungeon together tomorrow. Lin Ye pets her head and asks with concern if she is working too hard and pulling all-nighters because he has seen her stats. Mumu shakes her head, saying that she is not. Mumu tells him that it was little Mumu instead of her who went to the dungeons and grinded all night for her. Lin Ye asks who little Mumu is now, to which Mumu asks if he still hasn't realized that it was her imitation Tear, because as long as the Tear fights alone for her, she will obtain the skills and all the rewards along with them. Lin Ye asks if she means there is no restriction for time and distance for the Tear. As long as her Tear fights the domains, it is okay and she will get the rewards. He asks if her Tear can fight dungeons without commands. Mumu opens her stats and answers that it is possible since her imitation Tear is in the dungeon Lockless Nightmare right now as they speak. Lin Ye peeks at her stats and tells her that he sees the boss is in the critical stage according to the system reminders, and asks if the fight is about to be over already. He asks if she can monitor little Mumu's moves from the monitor all the time while she fights domains. Mumu annoys him, asking if he is jealous, to which Lin Ye nods, saying that he also wants a helper like little Mumu. He leans in and asks another question about whether the Tear ever gets tired, because it does not seem like little Mumu is getting tired if she is going to the dungeons indefinitely. Mumu looks at him and says she is unable to understand why Master Lin Ye is asking stupid questions. Lin Ye huffs and says he is shocked at how talented her talent is because he seems to need to redo her level up plans from level 10 to level 20. Mumu nods but asks what he means by her level up plans. Lin Ye tells her how he has to consider her talent and add all the new equipment and skills to create an optimal way to help her level up. She agrees to give him the information, but when he asks for her height, weight, and measurements, Mumu gets shy and asks why he wants to know all that. Lin Ye realizes his question and tells her that this information is for better attribute record rates and tells her to stop thinking weird things. He adds how her attributes later affect how well her imitation tier can perform during dungeon fights and how this is a way of optimizing her maximum advantages. Lin Ye goes into full master mode and tells her how killing a monster from a lower level dungeon doesn't matter, but high level ones matter a lot because the details and slightly off measurements in the attributes can change her overall outcome in a second, which is also expensive to fix if something like that happens. Mumu tells him that she understands, but that means he can easily ask her measurements. He understands her viewpoint and shifts the topic to Baiji, asking if she also wants a profession change and asks Mumu to ask Baiji if she is comfortable sharing her data, and it is okay if she does not want to since it is all about privacy. His carefully chosen words do not sit well with Mumu as she asks if he really wants other people's data now and slams the door on his face. Lin Ye slaps his head, trying to tell her that he only wanted to help their teammate. Mumu sits on her bed huffing in anger, asking if it is important to give her actual measurements, because it seems important to get even stronger. She remembers all the events she has spent with Lin Ye, and then takes out her fake implants from her chest and measures herself, getting frustrated that her body still hasn't grown even after drinking all that milk. She asks if Lin Ye will make fun of her. Mumu holds her head in her hands, asking herself how she always claimed that she was not lying, but now her image will be shattered. Suddenly she remembers little Mumu, thinking that she can take little Mumu's measurements instead of hers. She calls out her imitation tier after checking that she has finished clearing the dungeon. Little Mumu appears, confused, as Mumu takes a measuring tape and wraps it around her, causing a ruckus in her room that can be heard from outside. Lin Ye hears the chaotic noise from the room and wonders what could be happening inside when there is only Mumu. 10 minutes later, Mumu comes out of her room hiding her face. She hands over the datasheet to Lin Ye. Mumu says that she is done with the test and tells him to take a look at it himself, instructing him not to share it with anyone. Lin Ye takes the paper and looks at her data. Mumu asks if there is a problem with anything since Lin Ye is making a confused face. Lin Ye tells her that the data doesn't seem okay. Mumu tries to hide her face and answers that it is the same she had from her last physical exam. Lin Ye tries to warn her about the possibilities, telling her that if the data is not accurate, their strategy can fail and won't be useful. Mumu snatches the paper from him, then changes the answer to her actual measurements, and hands the sheet back to Lin Ye in anger. Lin Ye proudly takes the sheet and smiles, saying that this data is more accurate, then asks if she asked Baiji to give hers. Mumu tells him that Baiji refused, then imitates Baiji's actions to show what she said exactly. She doesn't want the big boss to worry and fuss over something so incredibly troublesome. Mumu adds even more flair in her imitation, and continues that Baiji said the big boss already gave her so much good equipment and resources. She has earned enough attribute points, and how can she possibly ask for more? Mumu takes her phone, showing Baiji's text to Lin Ye. She specifically explained that it's not an excuse out of privacy issues, and that she doesn't think the attribute point formula is useless, and to show she trusts him fully, she sent her last physical report. Lin Ye sighs, saying that if he didn't know her any better, he would have thought something else, but since he knows who Baiji really is, it seems she truly doesn't want him to worry about getting her new equipment. He sends the last year's physical report to himself from Mumu's phone and adds that he cannot let their teammate go without helping her when she has such amazing talent at her hand. Staying on topic, Mumu tries asking Lin Ye something. He finishes filling up the form and turns towards her. Mumu tells him that little Mumu learned another skill and she just got a notification from the system. The skill is called Soul Summoning Bell, which can be used to summon spirits and make them fight, but it didn't specify what kind of things she can summon with it. Listening to this, Lin Ye gets shocked as he asks in confusion if little Mumu is also able to summon things now and wonders if they are playing an infinite nesting doll game. Mumu shakes her head, telling him that it's not the same thing. The thing they do is different because her ability to summon spirits can only be used in Secret Realm dungeons. But Mumu has limits since she cannot use her abilities in reality, and unlike spirits dying in realms, dying in reality is not the case for her since little Mumu can be revived. She adds that she is only aware of little Mumu because she hasn't tested the others yet. Lin Ye plans to go into the dungeon and test out its specific effects. Both of them enter the dungeon Secret Realm, Lizardman tribe. Mumu asks if Lin Ye changed his priest weapon to knife form after seeing his new sword. Lin Ye offers to let her test it out. He shows her the after effects of the strike. Mumu tells him it is not that impressive and tells him to prepare for the impressive skills of her little sister. She uses bionic tears and activates the exclusive skill for soul summoning bell. Soon the bell appears in little Mumu's hands, but the notification alerts them that an unknown spirit has heard the bell's sound and established a connection in the world they are in, and soon it will descend here to fight them. They couldn't even get out of their shock when they heard a loud thud, and something very large started appearing in front of them. The system alerts them that Spirit Giant Tree Guardian has descended upon them. The spirit of level 10, with no proper information, stands in front of Mumu. Linya looks at its stats and realizes that it is definitely a top-tier boss exceeding the gold level. He thinks that if Mumu levels up later, she can summon bosses of that particular level. The soul summoning bell is similar to the item from the Curse Master, but the Curse Master won't die, and it is very difficult to obtain considering the cooldown. Understanding the situation, Linya tells her to use the new giant to her advantage. She gets the signal and tells the Tree Guardian to eliminate the Lizardmen. The giant Tree Guardian lets out a roar, luring the Lizardmen towards him and uses Heaven's Strike. It's an exclusive skill that strikes the enemy with the power of a war spear, and if another strike is attached, the enemy can no longer survive. Linya looks at the giant Guardian Tree's strike. He thinks about how Heaven's Strike resembles one of the Goblin King's skills. However, the Goblin King's attack had a much wider angle. The damage was also 10 times higher and far more destructive. He asks Mumu if he can try fighting it himself. Mumu becomes confused. She immediately denies his request. She tells him to sit back and relax, explaining that the Guardian Tree guy is his teammate right now. She adds that there is still one boss left. That boss will give Linya a good opportunity to see how capable he really is when fighting solo. Linya shakes his head at her tantrum. He says that she misunderstood him. He explains that he was talking about fighting with the bionic tears. Little Mumu is instantly shocked. She hides behind Mumu, who shields her protectively. Mumu angrily refuses his idea. Linya asks why she refused him. Before she can answer, he changes the topic. He instructs Mumu to make the Great Guardian Tree stand by until the next region. He explains his reasoning. When the Lizardman Chief appears, they can all witness the fight. The Chief will be a better test of the Tree Brothers' skills. After that, Linya will handle the rest himself. He swiftly changes his form into the Blade of Destruction. He has slain the Lizardman guard. Mumu asks in shock how a basic level attack could deal such high damage. Linya continues attacking the Lizardmen. At the same time, he reflects on something he hadn't noticed before. He never truly understood the bonuses of Spectral Moonshade. In the past, he mainly dealt long-range damage. He did so by reversing the numbers on healing skills. Now he can use Spectral Moonshade directly. It allows him to attack at a much higher speed. It also consumes less rage. The advantage is similar to before. However, these attacks are limited to common monsters. Enemies like angelic ghosts tend to ignore physical damage completely. Because of that, Linya still has to rely on reversed healing skills. Those skills ignore all defenses. They are the fastest way to defeat powerful enemies. With that strategy, he finishes off the Lizard Man. He then enters destruction mode. In a short time, he wipes out the entire Lizard Man group. Mumu watches his growing strength. She tells herself that she cannot fall behind him. Little Mumu gives an order and tells the Great Guardian Tree to join forces with her and destroy all remaining enemies. Linya steps back and he instructs the tree to show off. Meanwhile, he calmly heals himself and switches his blade form back to the Blade of Salvation. He believes this is the perfect moment. It is time to witness the power of Moonshadow between the crevices combined with Oath of Ocean and Moon. With those abilities activated, the three of them push forward. They continue killing enemies until they reach the Lizardmen's tribe. At the tribe, 300 lizard warriors stand ready to fight them. Mumu points out the obvious. 300 lizard warriors should be able to deal a considerable amount of damage. Linya tells her to trust him, and he promises to keep the tree man alive. For now, his priority is focusing on healing. After saying that, he gives another order. He tells the giant tree guardian to rush toward the wall and break it. The tree man charges forward and his speed increases dramatically. He crashes into the wall and smashes it apart, invading the warriors' formation. Little Mumu follows closely behind as she fights the warriors, trying to hold them back. Suddenly, Linya activates the Moonshadow form on the tree man. This makes the summoner invulnerable to all damage for 3 seconds. It also increases movement speed and allows attacks to remain at a large capacity. Linya thinks to himself that this miracle spell protects and attacks at the same time. He then summons an illusionary moon jellyfish. It absorbs power from the moon, which further enhances their attacks, and the effect lasts for about 15 seconds. At that moment, the Lizardman Chief finally appears. Little Mumu steps aside and tells the Great Guardian Tree to fight the Lizardman Chief. She wants him to show everyone what he is capable of. The tree man charges at the chief. Linya watches closely and remembers that the tree man only takes instructions from Little Mumu, since she is his summoner. Linya observes the exchange of blows. He gathers information from the fight. He quickly realizes that the tree man has a disadvantage in close-range combat. After examining the situation, Linya decides to intervene. He switches his blade back to the Blade of Destruction. He unleashes Fallen Hell upon the enemy. In an instant, the dungeon is cleared. The tree man suddenly speaks and points toward Lin Ye. He states that he can sense that this master is extremely strong. Lin Ye turns toward the giant guardian tree. He asks what it was just saying. Suddenly, the giant tree guardian kneels in front of him. It says that before returning to the spirit realm, it has something it wishes to ask. Lin Ye is caught off guard, and he asks what the guardian tree wants to ask. At the same time, he begins to think. The guardian tree is a sentient being from another realm. It was only summoned through the soul summoning bell. That makes sense, that this summoning can only happen once. If the guardian tree dies, it cannot be revived. He recalls the curse instructor. That being also possessed memories and intelligence. Yet it was only an illusion created by a summoning item. If the curse instructor were killed, it would simply revive again. Lin Ye quietly hides his destruction power behind his hand. He then asks what the guardian tree wants from him. Lin Ye asks another question. He wonders whether sentient beings from other realms are similar to abyss demons or the angels they have encountered before. He questions whether such beings pose a threat to humanity. The giant tree guardian replies only with, the forgotten lair. This answer confuses Lin Ye even more. The guardian tree continues speaking. It says that it wishes Lin Ye would bring its master to the forgotten lair. It explains that Lin Ye carries a special mark. That mark grants him the authority to enter their lair. It adds something else. Its master also possesses the same mark. Because of this, Lin Ye can take her along as well. Lin Ye asks who the master is, and asks who the guardian tree itself truly is. The giant tree guardian points toward little Mumu. It replies that it is merely an ordinary, nameless soldier. Lin Ye falls silent. Then after a moment, he instructs the tree guardian to stand up. Just then, a system notification appears. It asks whether he wants to open the reward chest now. Lin Ye tells the tree guardian that he still needs to confirm something. Only after that will he consider agreeing to its request. He then orders Mumu to leave. Mumu notices the sudden shift in Lin Ye's mood. She wonders what could have gone wrong so abruptly. Meanwhile, Lin Ye continues thinking. Normally, a professional's talent is under the absolute control of the awakened individual. A talent cannot exist without its professional. Awakening a talent is the very foundation of becoming stronger. Essentially, the professional and the talent exist in a symbiotic relationship. Once the professional dies, the talent disappears. This remains true no matter how powerful that talent may be. Even summoned creatures with intelligence would instinctively protect their own master. However, something feels wrong to Lin Ye. The fact that bionic tears can summon a creature from another realm troubles him. What troubles him more is that this creature acknowledges Mumu as its master. She even possesses a pass that allows entry into the Forgotten Lair. When Lin Ye thinks of Angel Kuro's projection, a chill runs through him. He realizes that Mumu could be in danger. Worse still, humanity itself could be at risk. He tells himself that he must resolve this matter as soon as possible. Lin Ye walks toward Mumu and tells her that something urgent has come up. He asks her to stay behind or continue clearing dungeons without him. Mumu notices his gaze linger on little Mumu, and she asks whether something is wrong. Lin Ye shakes his head and says that he might need to take some time off. After that, he makes a call and asks whether the other party is free right now. He later meets Huang Tiandu in Zhang City Center. Uncle Huang asks what urgent matter made Lin Ye rush to meet him in person. Lin Ye asks whether Uncle Huang or the Alliance is aware that he is eligible to enter the Forgotten Lair. Uncle Huang laughs and asks whether Lin Ye wants to learn more about that dungeon. Lin Ye recalls how Tianqi was the one who first brought up the topic. He asks whether the Alliance wants him to pass the professional test first. He suspects they are worried about his state of mind. Uncle Huang smiles and admits that this is indeed one of the reasons. However, he says he can still provide some information. He explains that Lin Ye likely does not understand the underlying danger of that dungeon. Uncle Huang explains further, the Forgotten Lair is dozens of times harder than any dungeon Lin Ye has encountered so far. Even the weakest monsters inside are at least diamond rank or higher. Many challengers have died before they ever had a chance to escape. Lin Ye asks whether the danger comes from a lack of equipment or simply from the diamond rank monsters. Uncle Huang confirms that both are correct. Still, people continue to enter the dungeon. He explains why. Defeating the boss grants legendary rank equipment. If someone enters solo, they may even obtain mythical equipment and skills. Lin Ye comes to a realization. The Alliance does not want him to become arrogant. If he enters that dungeon believing himself to be invincible, like Shofeng, he will die instantly. Lin Ye asks what rank is required to enter the Forgotten Lair. Uncle Huang replies that the minimum requirement is level 15. However, he strongly recommends waiting until level 20. Lin Ye reassures him that he is not reckless. He promises that he will make proper preparations before entering. Uncle Huang then shifts the topic. He explains that the Alliance has recently taken an interest in investigating the demons of the Abyss and the Fallen Ones. He mentions an evil fallen being known as the White Clown. It has appeared recently. They have also received intelligence. Many Abyss apes are hiding within the Alliance itself. With this situation, the Zhang City Alliance is preparing to take major action. As professionals, they must maintain peace and prevent history from repeating itself in tragedy. Chairman Huang advises Lin Ye to pay close attention to his messages, that the changes will soon be made to future arrangements. This surprises Lin Ye. The chairman then reveals the reason. The alliance has declared a citywide lockdown. Internal personnel are undergoing a cleanup process. Corrupt professionals are being identified and temporarily isolated. He further explains that with the upcoming vocational test, these corrupted individuals will be dealt with. The news has not been released yet to avoid unnecessary panic. He concludes by telling Lin Ye to focus only on his studies. The alliance will handle the rest. Before the meeting ends, Lin Ye takes a sip from his glass, saying that he still has a question. He asks whether betrayal is possible. Specifically, he asks if a summoning type awakened talent could betray its professional if the summoned beings come from another world and possess self-awareness and memories. Chairman Huang shakes his head. He denies the possibility. He explains that awakened talents are symbiotic. They are powers nurtured from within. They live and die alongside their professionals, much like loyal allies. Because of this, it does not matter what is summoned or from which world it comes. It will never endanger its summoner. Even if the summoned beings possess intelligence and varying personalities, they still obey unconditionally. To reassure him further, Chairman Huang adds that this has been tested in battle. Even high-level control abilities that manipulate thoughts cannot make summoned beings attack their summoners. Lin Ye then asks about a specific case. He asks what would happen if the summoned being were an abyss demon. The chairman reassures him again, saying it still would not happen. Such talents exist within the alliance. In these cases, abyss demons attempt to tempt humans into joining the abyss. Instead, those professionals integrate into abyss forces. They become informants. Their role is to relay the movements of abyss powers. After all questions are answered, Chairman Huang lowers his glasses. He asks whether Lin Ye is the one who awakened such a talent. Lin Ye answers honestly, saying it is not him. It belongs to a friend and teammate. As he reflects on the conversation, Lin Ye realizes something important. The Alliance will eventually learn that the biomechanical tear is being brought into the Forgotten Nest, just as the giant tree guardian requested. To clear the confusion, Lin Ye explains further. He tells the chairman that his friend's summoned being sensed his passage permit. It requested to enter the Forgotten Nest together. This revelation shocks Chairman Huang, making him stand up immediately. He is surprised that the summoned being claims to have a passage permit as well. Lin Ye admits that he doubts the claim. Chairman Huang walks toward the window. He reassures Lin Ye once more. He says that the being will not betray Lin Ye or his friend. However, he advises reporting the matter to the Alliance in advance. Chairman Huang refers to the summoner as a promising big shot. He tells Lin Ye not to worry. As long as the Alliance confirms that the being was not summoned through an illegal ritual or dark power, it will not be restricted in human cities. He guarantees something else as well. Lin Ye's summoner friend will not be investigated. Instead, she will be valued and cultivated. She will receive full access to resources, training, equipment, and future benefits. Lin Ye finally feels relieved and admits that he dislikes feeling tense and out of control. Chairman Huang notices that Lin Ye has finished asking questions. He then presents an autopsy report. It concerns an abyss demon. He explains that a senior prosecutor examined the corpse. The conclusion was that it was killed by a special magical attack. Although the demon appeared burned, its cells and organs suffered sudden exhaustion and atrophy. They stopped functioning entirely. The effect resembles old-time paraquat poisoning. Chairman Huang asks Lin Ye a question. He asks whether his awakened talent is poison milk. He hands over the report. Lin Ye is impressed by the level of detail. After reviewing it, Lin Ye confirms the truth. Chairman Huang smiles and explains that the Alliance had been arguing over the cause of death. That debate will now end, and the credit belongs to Lin Ye. Lin Ye looks confused, to which Chairman Huang is surprised by his reaction. He asks whether Lin Ye is unaware of the bounty placed on abyss demons. Before Lin Ye can answer, the chairman explains. The Professional Alliance awards merit for every abyss demon slain. He tells Lin Ye to wait for the award ceremony. The rewards include platinum-level optional equipment, skill books, rare materials, and special items. Lin Ye can specify what he wants. Feeling excited, Lin Ye asks whether the items can be sent to him. When Chairman Huang agrees, Lin Ye asks for permission to leave. He wants to take his teammates into another dungeon. As Lin Ye stands up, Chairman Huang wishes him luck. He encourages him to take first place in the vocational test and bring honor to Zhang City. Seeing his enthusiasm, Lin Ye jokes. He asks whether the chairman is placing bets on him. Chairman Huang hesitates and both of them burst into laughter. Later that afternoon, Lin Ye spots Baizhi walking along the town streets. He approaches her and asks what the matter is. Baizhi turns around to face him. She says that she has made a decision. She has decided to give him her data. As she finishes speaking, she hands him a file. It contains all of her personal combat data. The gesture surprises Lin Ye. He is taken aback by how much trust she is placing in him. After a brief pause, Lin Ye makes a decision of his own. He resolves that he will not let her down. He tells her that once her level reaches 2, he will take her into the next dual instance dungeon. Based on the calculations he will make using her updated data, they will then decide whether she should change her class. The news hits Baizhi hard. A strong wave of happiness spreads across her face. Without wasting time, she enthusiastically heads toward the next dungeon. Her goal is clear. She wants to raise her level as quickly as possible. Linya opens his mouth to say something more. However, she has already sprinted away. Seeing her excitement, he decides not to stop her or dampen her enthusiasm. Now, to complete his calculations, Linya plans to base them on their last 3-person dungeon run. He will combine that information with Baiji's current physical data. He examines the available records. All the necessary information is present. The skills data is complete. The equipment data is also complete. However, there is a problem. Because the last dungeon involved 3 people, Baiji's individual data is not fully accurate. Speaking of Baiji, her current performance is not particularly impressive. Aside from her lucky buff, there is little that truly stands out. Because of this, Linya prepares a backup plan. He wants to ensure that she can pass the final exam. At the same time, he must keep her true talent hidden. Luck alone will not be enough. Somewhere deep inside a dungeon, a group of 4 evil followers is holding a secret meeting. Black Fist speaks first, suggesting that they should prioritize killing the one who murdered their lord, Mei Gao. Card interrupts him and warns the group that the Adventurers Alliance is watching everywhere. If they expose their abyssal powers, they will be discovered. Once exposed, they risk being arrested by the extermination team. After that, Card casually flirts with Fox, the woman in their group. While doing so, he mocks Black Fist, calling him big and clumsy. Black Fist shows clear annoyance at Card's remark. However, Fox ignores it. She states that she is more concerned about something else. She says she is worried about who their master will send as their new commander. To her, that matters more than Mei Gao's death. She then asks the group whether they should proceed with the assassination plan. Smoke Demon responds arrogantly. He agrees without hesitation. Black Fist speaks again. He says that they do not need to stop their operations. They can continue working behind the scenes without personally stepping in. Smoke Demon adds his own opinion. He says it does not matter whether the target is Lin Ye, the extraordinary student, or Shangguan Yan, their original target. He explains his confidence. The power of the item Catastrophe Bringer will take care of both. This special item increases a dungeon's difficulty to a catastrophic level. As Black Fist admires the Catastrophe Bringer, confusion fills his mind. He cannot understand why their master would use such a valuable item. In his opinion, their team alone is more than capable of defeating their enemies. Card looks down on him as usual. Without warning, he flicks 2 cards toward Black Fist. They stop just short of his skull. Card insults him, mocking his thinking. He says that believing the Alliance would allow them to kill their most protected target is nothing more than an easy path to hell. Fox notices Card's arrogance and tells him to calm down. She explains that Black Fist is simply straightforward, and his intelligence is not particularly high. Black Fist remains seated and stays calm despite being mocked once again. Card, however, grows even more irritated. He complains loudly about having stupid colleagues. He calls Black Fist a bald donkey, and says that he will eventually bring disaster upon the team. Before Fox can warn Card about his sharp tongue, Black Fist suddenly stands up. To everyone's surprise, he bows his head toward Card and apologizes. Smoke Demon immediately tries to stop him. He reminds Black Fist that his strength far exceeds Card's. At that moment, the Catastrophe Bringer begins to glow brighter. The light rises higher into the air. A command echoes ordering them to welcome their master. The 4 of them kneel down. Within the light, the reflection of their master appears. Addressing Mei Gao's death, the master announces his decision. Another Abyss Demon will be assigned to lead them. An Evil Fallen will assist as well. He then reveals the name of the Evil Fallen, White Clown. Smoke Demon reacts instantly, saying that they already know him. White Clown has killed nearly 1,000 people, and among them are more than a dozen high-level adventurers. He has set an infamous record. The way Smoke Demon speaks makes their master realize something. They do not want White Clown involved. When asked for the reason, Smoke Demon explains further. With White Clown's power, he would be a threat to their own lives. For that reason, Smoke Demon refuses to act if White Clown enters Jiang City. After Smoke Demon's declaration, the dungeon grows silent. The atmosphere becomes heavy and uneasy. Then, the master suddenly laughs and praises their way of thinking. He assures them that their rejection holds value. White Clown does not have the authority to restrain them or act alongside them. He explains further. White Clown has been sent to Jiang City for a different task. He will take over their original mission of killing Shangguan Yan. At the same time, White Clown will cover for them. He will help them complete a new mission. Their new target is Huang Xiaofeng. After those 2 tasks are finished, the master guarantees something else. Once this once-in-a-lifetime fallen genius completes his duties, they will be free to deal with Lin Ye. The master then gives them instructions. He tells them to keep their identities hidden. They must follow the same plan as before. They will throw the Catastrophe Bringer into the final test's secret realm. This will enrage the dungeon boss. By doing so, they can kill Lin Ye without suspicion. They will make the professionals regret everything. Smoke Demon finally voices his concern. He asks whether wasting such a valuable item on Lin Ye is truly worth it. After all, the item can permanently drop diamond-grade equipment. Black Fist adds his opinion and suggests continuing to gather diamond-grade equipment. Once their lord is strong enough, he can kill anyone he wants. Smoke Demon presses further. He points out that Lin Ye's threat level should not exceed Shangguanyan's. If they must use the item, would it not be better to use it on Shangguanyan instead? The master finally responds and reveals new information. The Professional Alliance is secretly hiding the fact that Lin Ye has obtained a qualification certificate for the Forgotten Nest. Because of this, Lin Ye's life is now more valuable than that of the Lingyun sect's leader. As a result, Shangguanyan's secret protectors have shifted their focus. They are now guarding Lin Ye instead. This makes it extremely difficult. Even with White Clown's involvement, harming Lin Ye would be nearly impossible. Once the group understands the situation, the master makes a promise. He will take them to the Abyss for baptism. They will become true Abyss warriors. However, he adds a condition that if they fail, they will never receive deeper Abyss powers. The next day, during the award ceremony, the principal praises Lin Ye's achievements in front of everyone. He announces that Lin Ye is worthy of receiving a certification of recognition. Whispers spread throughout the crowd. People speak in awe about how terrifying Lin Ye is. He defeated Xiaoqin and made Director Huang apologize. Now he has even killed an Abyss demon alone. The whispers continue, and people mention that he is already the top-ranked student. They predict he will also dominate the final test and become a leader once he joins the alliance. Mumu feels proud as she listens. However, the tone shifts. People begin worrying that Lin Ye will become a target for Abyss demons. Mumu grows worried as well. Still, others reassure her. They claim that Abyss demons are cowards who would never dare confront professionals head-on. While Mumu sulks over Lin Ye not telling her about the danger, the principal steps forward to present the certificate. Once again, he praises Lin Ye's outstanding actions. He calls him the future hope of the alliance. Lin Ye feels flattered by the attention. He responds humbly. He states that every professional is a hope for eliminating the Abyss forces. After that, he is presented with several platinum-grade equipment pieces and skill books. He hesitates and says that he cannot take all of them, as he would not use many anyway. As he examines the options, he realizes something. Although the stats are tempting, they do not provide much improvement. In the end, he chooses 3 items: Invigorating Belt, Swift Boots, and Holy Light. He recalls that Holy Light is a skill of the White Spirit Rider. If reversed, it could drastically reduce enemy attributes or even cause berserk effects. As he acquires the items, he calculates further. With Swift combined with the Ancient Dragon Necklace, he gains a 50% reduction to movement slow effects. This completely counters agile bosses. It also fills a gap in his attributes. The crowd admires his growing strength. The principal concludes the ceremony. He tells the students to return to studying, enter dungeons, and prepare for the exam. Before Lin Ye leaves, the principal stops him. He reveals something important. The Alliance has secretly assigned people to protect him. Today's public praise was deliberate. By placing Lin Ye in the spotlight, it becomes harder for Abyss forces to act against him. Lin Ye confirms that he understands. The principal then asks about his plans. The final profession test is only 3 days away. Lin Ye answers honestly. He plans to upgrade his equipment to level 10 and pass the test alongside his teammates. At that moment, the principal's bracelet beeps 3 times. Urgent information has arrived. He asks Lin Ye for the names of his teammates. He tells him to come along. There is something he needs to discuss. Inside the principal's office, Lin Ye provides information about his teammates. He says that Sumumu is doing well. However, Baichi worries him. She lacks strong talent. On top of that, she is considering a class change. The principal jokes lightly. He says that she must have some ability if Lin Ye chose her. He then becomes serious. The exam will not give anyone special treatment. However, if she passes, her future will not be an issue. She will not be excluded from the school. The principal advises Lin Ye to relax. He should focus on leading his team and preparing. With that, he hands Lin Ye a letter. He calls it his real reward. It contains the Alliance's plan. Inside the Lizardman dungeon, Baizhu continues fighting. She cuts down Lizardmen with her blade. Lin Ye praises her attack range. He tells her to trust her judgment and improve her reaction speed. She follows his advice. She fights more decisively. She dodges the boss's attacks more cleanly. When the lizard man raises its weapon overhead, Lin Ye gives another command. He tells her to maintain her angle as it is perfect. He tells her not to hesitate and she obeys. She defeats the boss and Baizhu reaches level 2. She gains a new ability, Lucky Hands. It increases gold drop rates. It also completely avoids bad class outcomes. This ability is a personal, exclusive passive and no one else can use it. Lin Ye praises her progress, telling her to stop hesitating and she should trust his commands. Even so, Lin Ye feels uneasy. He once believed she was suited for great swordsmanship because of her natural strength. Now he doubts that. He asks whether she truly wants to change classes. She becomes confused and asks if she did something wrong. Lin Ye reassures her while he explains that he knows how hard she has worked. He knows about her accumulated strength points. However, a class change concerns her future. Simply put, her constitution is not suited for a great swordsman. If she forces this path, she may cause irreversible damage. That would end her career. Once Baiji understands, Lin Ye adds that changing classes requires clearing a difficult solo dungeon. Only she can enter it. He cannot provide a strategy. She may get injured and may lose hope. Even so, passing the exam will transform her combat experience. He pats her head and tells her the choice is hers. No matter what she decides, she will remain part of his team. Moved by his words, Baiji reflects on her teammate's sincerity. Despite being a support buff, she has always been treated genuinely. She announces her decision to change classes, to which Lin Ye feels relieved. After clearing another boss, the two exit the dungeon. Baiji feels dizzy, exhausted, and nauseous. At the entrance, they meet Sumumu as she complains that she could not find them. Tomorrow is the final test. Lin Ye walks up to her and tells her not to worry, showing her the letter and calls it a surprise. At the professionals' test site, students are panicking about their tests, hoping they won't screw up. When they take a look at the dungeon boss's stats, most of them feel hopeless about clearing it and wonder what to do. By the time Lin Ye and his team get there, the place is already too crowded. As the girls prepare to enter, Mumu hears her parents cheering for them from the non-student spectator area, while holding a board with their faces on it. The protagonist confusedly asks Su Mumu if she didn't tell her parents about the plan, to which she says that she couldn't let them know. This makes him realize that the information is actually very classified for them to not even hear from other channels. Right then, Jiang Heng, the city's lord, arrives and greets the students gathered there. He announces that this year's professional test is being delayed for 3 days due to some unexpected turn of events, so the reason they are all gathered here is something else. This announcement causes a state of confusion among the crowd. They begin to chatter about what could have gone wrong and wonder if the demon tide is coming for them again. When they continue to discuss whether it's about the fight in the west of the city or the infiltration of the otherworldly creatures, the city lord silences them by declaring that the city has some special recruit for the first time. The city lord then adds that according to the new regulations from the professional association, the special recruits will have to challenge a special dungeon instance with their teammates before the final professional test. This challenge will be broadcast live and recorded for all the students to watch and learn from it. With that said, he announces Lin Ye as the first special recruit of the city of Jiangcheng, a professional academy student. This spreads a wave of surprise and happiness over the students gathered there, and they all look at the protagonist with admiring eyes. The news reaches the evil follower group, and Card informs Smoke Demon about both the final test getting postponed for 3 days and our boy getting announced as the special recruit in Jiangcheng. He further adds that the dungeon out guy will solo challenge, which is actually the original final test dungeon. When Smoke Demon asks him if he has already deployed the Catastrophe Bringer, Card confirms before calling it too much of a coincidence that the Alliance hasn't moved to a new dungeon. Over Card's concern about the situation, Smoke Demon asks him to rest assured, since their master only ordered them to deploy the Catastrophe Bringer and ensure the assassination target enters it. Therefore, he tells Card to just confirm that the protagonist has entered the dungeon where the item has been placed, and then immediately join the team at the base without wasting time on anything else. In an anxious state, Card assures him that he has already activated the trap without anyone noticing, not even the city lord. Smoke Demon states the possibility of the patrolling professionals sensing the abyssal aura on Card, or them seeing the difficulty of the dungeon change and deciding to seal off the entire venue, which would eventually result in Card's permanent doom. At this, he uses his concealment spell and declares that he will return as soon as possible. Since he has been keeping watch at that side, he gets to know that the target is about to enter the dungeon. He then asks Smoke Demon about whether Black Fist has dealt with Huang Xiaofeng in the black market or not. Smoke Demon confirms that it has been done, though they are yet to contact Bai Xiaoqiu. He then tells Card not to worry about that guy since his life or death doesn't concern him as long as Shang Guanyan gets assassinated. Back in Zhongcheng City, the city lord calls Lin Ye and his team upstairs. The students keep excitedly saying how Lin Ye deserves to be the special recruit because of his huge contribution to the professional association and god-level awakened talents, which even Huang Xiaofeng never had. Once the protagonist gets to the top where the city lord is, the city lord asks him to just stay there for a while since the principal must have told him the news in advance. Upon his confirmation, the city lord opens a portal to enter the unknown dungeon, which Lin Ye and his teammates enter and acquire Return Bone Fragment. After using it, they can easily exit the dungeon right away. Suddenly, the trio gets a warning about the Return Bone Fragment being unable to be used when under attack. Another warning states that the dungeon's difficulty has increased to disaster level due to the influence of Catastrophe Bringer. This affects the Return Bone Fragment, and it begins to disappear, making it impossible for them to escape the dungeon. Right then, they are hit with scorching heat, which is too difficult for them to tolerate, and they realize that the dungeon has been mutated. Under the effect of the Catastrophe Bringer, the dungeon's internal structure has mutated, creating new maps and dungeon creatures. But some parts remain unchanged, thus they are requested to survive anyhow. The second the three of them enter the secret realm, Lin Ye orders formation immediately. He instructs his teammates to assemble in the defense formation practiced during previous simulations. Lin Ye looks back, reminding himself that Yonan Forest's final boss consists of 3 intelligent humanoids. He explains that at the golden level, their greatest challenge comes from simultaneous concentrated attacks. The assessment focuses on clearance duration and precise details regarding the reduction of their health. Mistakes in combat do not matter because unnecessary health will be lost due to misuse. Baija huffs, commenting that the dungeon's difficulty is moderate but now feels dangerous. The Corrupted One's interference has elevated the dungeon's challenge far beyond the original intention. Outside the professional exam entrance hall, spectators stand and observe the stats of the team. Some recall how Yonan Dungeon almost cost them their lives during professional tests previously. Others curse the Corrupted Ones, claiming they want exam takers to die for amusement. Some sit quietly, observing Lin Ye's fight against the enhanced bosses, watching cautiously for safety. Others pray silently for Lin Ye's protection, fearing the loss of another talented genius. Amid these heated conversations, the Corrupted One remains hidden, scheming against the arrogant genius. He thinks that Lin Ye's ignorance and arrogance will soon lead to his downfall. Back in the secret realm, Lin Ye tells his teammates about changes from the catastrophic bringer. He explains that so far, only high-temperature flames appear, while mobs and terrain remain unchanged. Just then, the first enemies appear, half-serpent humanoid creatures emerging from the surrounding foliage. Mumu observes that they have been waiting patiently for Lin Ye and his team's arrival. These half-human, half-snake creatures inhabit Yonan Forest, attacking with daggers and poisoned blow darts. They prefer hiding in bushes or tall grass, ambushing opponents with swift, sudden strikes frequently. The snakes launch their attack immediately, letting a poison arrow strike Lin Ye's shoulder. Lin Ye shields himself and counters using the surprise attack spell, Azure Sea Tide, efficiently. The serpents scatter to evade, attempting to escape the damage and regroup with caution. Lin Ye gathers his teammates, assigning them to different positions across the battlefield strategically. He instructs Mumu to use Gale Butterfly to collect the 5 serpents hiding nearby secretly. Baiji is ordered to charge toward another location and confront additional lurking enemies directly. Mumu nods and activates Little Mumu, then unleashes Gale Butterfly at the designated targets. Lin Ye informs her of the serpents' hideouts and instructs her to combine spells. She uses Flamestorm first, followed by Ignite, then a Frost spell to freeze them. Ignite sets the serpents ablaze, leaving them in a continuous state of burning agony. The Frost spell freezes them solid, immobilizing their movements completely and preventing any counterattack. Little Mumu releases her sword, instantly eliminating all 5 serpents with precise, lethal strikes. Lin Ye observes his teammates fighting together in perfect harmony, alert for any danger. A hiss suddenly alerts him to the presence of the last hiding serpent nearby stealthily. He shifts into destruction mode, turning swiftly to face the serpent and striking immediately. A single basic attack kills the final serpent, ending the remaining low-level threat decisively. He orders the girls to advance while carefully monitoring mana usage for the next wave. The girls nod, already healing from excessive skill usage during the previous combat encounters. Outside the venue, spectators discuss Lin Ye's weapon, debating whether it is a sword. They also discuss Mumu's clone, questioning whether it represents her awakening talent officially recognized. Someone remarks that the Alliance already knows about her talent and recognizes her extraordinary abilities. The crowd notes that Lin Ye's teammates demonstrate remarkable skills, making them exceptional alongside him. Mumu's parents sigh in relief, proud that their daughter is now highly capable officially. They acknowledge that people are beginning to recognize her skill, talent, and numerous good deeds. The red-headed villain hiding beneath the Watchers grits his teeth, cursing Lin Ye's success loudly. He declares that Lin Ye and his teammates would be better off joining Abyssal forces. With that, he retreats from the venue, disappearing swiftly and leaving no trace behind immediately. Hidden soldiers emerge afterward, reporting that Target 3 has left the venue successfully already. They inquire whether Target 1 has opened the Abyss Gate, so they can close the net. Outside the city, the blue-haired girl orders the assassin to keep the target trapped. She instructs him to close the net as Abyss Demon Suppression Team 2 coordinates. The team begins their operation smoothly, running swiftly toward their target without any hesitation. Both the assassin and the team leader sprint in pursuit of the fleeing target. Meanwhile, the red-haired man allows his soul to dissipate, trading his life cards deliberately. Being the true evil fallen, his cards begin working as the Abyss energy enters him. The Veil Fallen laughs at the professional's incompetence, cursing them for failing his transformation. From this moment onward, he officially begins the transformation into a terrifying Abyss warrior. The red-haired man yields to the pitch black, letting darkness take over his entire body. Today he plays his cards and prepares to be reborn as a vengeful warrior. Suddenly, a voice calls his name, revealing that the professionals have surrounded him swiftly. The blue-haired girl, leader among many, demands he dispels the fog enveloping his body. She gives him only 10 seconds to remove the abyss's power from his being. Soldiers close in from behind, restraining him and preparing to prevent further transformations immediately. The red-haired man struggles violently, attempting to shake off the soldiers threatening his life. He begins claiming that a traitor has betrayed him gravely, fueling his furious resistance. The leader starts counting from 10, signaling that the time to surrender is ending. Once the countdown reaches 8, he materializes a diamond-level mage weapon, attacking relentlessly. Universal demon cards fly in all directions, striking soldiers and testing their coordination and defense. The blue-haired girl absorbs the abyssal power through her equipment set bonus automatically. Despite their efforts, the red-haired man refuses to surrender, drawing another card aggressively. A soldier strikes from behind with an arrow of silence, interrupting the card's effect. The soldiers launch flame strikes and transform him into a sheep, suppressing his dangerous skills. The evil fallen burns in agony as the soldiers maintain constant, unrelenting pressure. He vows to annihilate the entire professional league, keeping his rage and hatred alive. Finally, the abyssal energy releases its full power, threatening catastrophic destruction in response. The leader warns soldiers to be careful as the enemy channels all 10 dark energies. The red-haired man regains health with a final attack, challenging the professionals to engage. A sudden shadow attack strikes him through the heart, executed perfectly by the skilled assassin. The assassin moves with deadly speed, ending the battle using a swift triple sword attack. Elsewhere, observers watch the ongoing fight in the secret dungeon with growing curiosity and awe. They notice Lin Ye preparing to advance toward the level 20 venomous frog strategically. One remarks that fighting the frog is unnecessary since defeating it does not affect completion. Another suggests Lin Ye intends to use the frog's pawn to kite and maneuver tactically. Meanwhile, the level 20 venomous frog approaches, its movements deliberate and intimidating as it advances. Lin Ye and his teammates face the frog, activating reverse healing and plunder spells efficiently. The frog launches its attack using the deadly tongue stab, aimed directly at Lin Ye. Outside observers scream for him to dodge, shocked as Lin Ye absorbs the hit calmly. The tongue wraps fully around him, but he activates Reversal Divine Healing and Catastrophe simultaneously. The frog's tongue is sliced apart instantly, unable to withstand Lin Ye's powerful magic combination. Lin Ye steps closer to the enemy, and his shoulder injury appears completely non-existent afterward. Observers notice Lin Ye combines treatment and catastrophe simultaneously, enhancing his attack's potency remarkably. The boss moves aggressively toward Lin Ye as he dodges skillfully while retreating strategically backward. Spectators question whether Lin Ye intends to kite the frog or why the girls wait. Soon the frog enters attack range, and Mumu unsheathes her weapon, ready for a strike. Baiji empowers Mumu's attack, and together their Gale Blade and Fireball execute a combo skill. The combo attack makes the boss monster's HP decrease by a heavy amount, though it is not particularly significant. Baiji notes that this is expected in a disaster-level dungeon, where even defeating low-level boss monsters has become unusually difficult. Mumu wipes her sweat, acknowledging that it is normal, and points out that their combination attack, despite using so many skills at once, consumes very little mana and requires no recovery time. Mumu returns to her position, observing that everything unfolds exactly as Lin Ye instructs, and asks how many seconds have passed since their attack on the boss. Baiji begins counting from 30. Meanwhile, Lin Ye uses his plundering technique on the venomous frog while it is in a low HP state. Almost immediately, the system announces that the venomous frog is defeated and that they have obtained the secret realm buff. Baiji cheers, noting that it takes them less than 40 seconds to defeat the boss monster, which means their record is maintained. Across the city, the evil fallen's health depletes completely until the system declares him dead. The leader informs the upper head that target number 3 is eliminated and instructs the assassin Wu Lu to immediately lead his team to the Abyss Gate, rendezvous with other units, and advance toward the Abyss with the full army. She emphasizes that such an opportunity is rare and must be utilized to its full potential. Wu Lao removes his hood and faces his soldiers, explaining that the upcoming battle will be far more dangerous than the enemy they just encounter. It is comparable to a large-scale demon tide, and it is possible that none of them will survive. He gives anyone who wants to back out the option to do so, making it clear that he will neither stop nor blame anyone. He emphasizes that their mission is to protect families and safeguard the residents from the demon plague creatures lurking in the abyss. After a moment of silence, the soldiers collectively commit to the battle, vowing to fight the demons and restore peace with no regrets. Wu Liu leads them forward, charging into the abyss, determined to bring back the Abyss King's head, while the soldiers chant their resolve, affirming that humanity will triumph. Within the secret realm, the 3 warriors have already defeated the giant python elite, the demonized spider elite, and the giant wild boar elite. Checking their stats, they notice that Mumu has scored higher than Lin Ye, prompting her to wonder whether she has grown stronger or the monsters have become weaker. Linya suggests that since there is still time and the first stage boss has yet to appear, Mumu should summon the giant tree guardian. Using the summoning bell, Mumu calls forth the guardian tree, which descends with a platinum-level buff. Observing the scene, the professor expresses shock, recognizing that this is not the first stage monster, and acknowledges that Linya's potential is limitless, especially given that the creature is summoned by Mumu's avatar. The system then sends an alert that the shadow of Yanan has detected their presence. Linya informs the others that it is approaching, and soon a humanoid monster of level 20, modified by level 10, appears before them, with a description stating that it attacks and brutally kills anyone who comes near. Linya commands the guardian tree to attack, instructing it to use the knight's charge, follow with Heaven's Strike, and anticipate the ending. The guardian tree executes the attack, striking the knight and sending the shadow of Yanan into a downed state. Linya then tells the girls to stop conserving their mana and use all their skills to quickly reduce its health. Mumu activates her Ice Seal technique, freezing the knight as its health drops rapidly. Baiju positions herself and strikes with a firestorm. The trio combines their techniques and considers switching to close combat skills since their large ranged attacks have already been used. Before they act, the system informs them that the shadow of Yanan is defeated. Suddenly, the knight rises in fury and launches a direct attack toward Lin Ye. The man states the intelligence report confirms the Abyss prepared traps on 2 fronts. Yan says they intend to strike 2 prey with 1 arrow simultaneously. Another professor agrees, saying their primary target is eliminating Lin Ye first. He adds they predicted Lin Ye's movements and attempted luring the tiger away. Yan mocks them again, saying the Abyss believed itself extremely clever. He calls them cunning fools who mistake recklessness for bravery. Even after heavy losses, they still charged blindly, exposing their desperation. Lin Ye removes his disguise mask and reveals all reported good news was fabricated. He explains the Abyss spread false information to lower their guard deliberately. The professor decides Lin Ye must be informed of the real situation immediately. He orders Lin Ye to enter the secret realm once recruits fully relax. The gates will be opened prematurely according to their plan. They observe Lin Ye closely as Uncle Huang grows visibly worried. He tells the professor his son may be in serious danger. The professor reassures him, saying this also serves as a crucial test. He explains the Abyss Lord wants to recruit Xiaofeng, not kill him. As long as Xiaofeng behaves, the Abyss will not harm him. Once the gate opens, their mole will secretly escort him through Jiang City. The assistant reports their main forces already entered the Abyss Gate successfully. She adds that within 5 minutes, a monster tide will invade Jiang City. Yan announces everyone should retreat into the inner city and wait. He confidently declares they are 1 step ahead this time. Yan concludes they will win this battle with 0 casualties. Inside the secret realm, the tree guardian asks Lin Ye for permission. He tells Lin Ye to leave all matters to him confidently. Lin Ye executes Heaven Strike, Hoof Flying Kick, and Death Triple Slash consecutively. He slashes the monster's face directly with overwhelming force. Viewers assume the Triple Slash has wiped out every boss present. Another observer comments he killed a platinum-level boss within 5 strikes. Someone says his skill usage suggests a powerful awakening status. One person voices objections regarding the priest-student's combat talent. He argues Lin Ye lacks tank toughness and sufficient mana sustainability. He insists Lin Ye is too fragile if controlled during battlefield combat. He advises priests should avoid such frontline tasks altogether. Another observer counters that Lin Ye may be deliberately holding back. After all, Lin Ye is still a newly recruited student. Someone notes his dodges and timing are flawless and precise. They recall he scored full marks in every practical examination. He asks the teacher whether he agrees with this assessment. The teacher replies a true all-round genius could easily replace him. Another observer highlights Mumu's uniqueness through her advanced clone techniques. When used correctly, her combos excel against penetrating otherworldly creatures. Someone whispers urgently into the leader's ear. The leader hastily announces the viewing is paused due to imminent danger. Chaos erupts as people scatter and shout in panic. He urges everyone to stay calm, promising safety through composure. The pink-haired girl speculates another demon tide is approaching. He reassures them, stating the Alliance's strength is overwhelming. He orders everyone to retreat, refusing to endanger the students further. Meanwhile, inside the realm, a girl hands Lin Ye a golden barrier scroll. She explains the Alliance prepared it as a new Abyss map. Mumu insists on following Lin Ye forward. Lin Ye stops her, instructing her to stay with Baiji. He says he will enter the gate alone with the tree guardian. Lin Ye warns the road ahead is extremely dangerous. Lin Ye says the danger in this zone is unknown and untested during exams. He tells the girls their performance is excellent and staying behind is safer. He pauses, realizing he already activated the tree guardian earlier. While whispering, the girls discuss bribing him into taking them along. Mumu offers all supplies and potions, saying they will help in the Abyss. When all 3 make pitiful baby faces, Lin Ye cannot refuse them. In the end, they all continue forward together without further argument. After feeding the potion to the guardian tree, its speed increases dramatically. Its movements become swifter as power surges through its wooden frame. They charge forward together, swift energy raging inside them all. A black armored puppet appears, level 10, skillless but extremely dangerous. The tree guardian breaks through instantly using Night Charge instant kill skill. Linya follows with a triple/normal attack, finishing the puppet cleanly. Another black armored puppet spawns, now reaching level 20 rapidly. The tree guardian asks if it should eliminate it immediately. Linya confidently states he can defeat it within 1 minute. Suddenly, Linya senses danger and orders everyone to hold still. He shouts that invisible armies are hiding within the surrounding darkness. He tells them to wait, promising to force the enemies out. Linya activates Chi Technique, Invasive Divine Chi Therapy. A wave of clarity descends across the battlefield instantly. A black-armored male-female duo spawns, making Linya frown silently. He mutters that enemies keep appearing endlessly in this zone. While killing them, he orders Mumu to hold back. He explains the ninja will notice her movements immediately. He commands the tree guardian to stay occupied with the puppets. Linya orders clearing the first minions and luring them toward the ninja. The tree guardian roars angrily, warning tree ants not to approach. Linya activates moon concealment without hesitation. He shouts heaven, hell, and earth, signaling the next phase. He tells Mumu it is finally her turn to attack. The tree guardian roars with surging energy as they strike together. Mumu unleashes windstorm butterflies toward the male-female ninja duo. The black armored puppet ninja is swiftly defeated. Another black puppet begins summoning additional reinforcements immediately. Linya uses inversion healing thunder spells, crushing the remaining ninjas. Meanwhile, underground camp observers scream in disbelief at Linya's AoE damage. One shouts that his damage exceeds even the two bosses combined. Another confirms he eliminated most enemies within just minutes. An observer states even elite schools cannot achieve such output. A teacher wipes sweat, suspecting Linya possesses SS or God-tier talent. The principal taps his shoulder, asking if he feels unwell. The teacher coughs and apologizes for his earlier impoliteness. He admits Linya is extraordinary and possesses overwhelming talent. The crowd erupts, declaring everyone should fight for Linya's admission. The pink-haired girl follows Linya's direction and orders her team forward. Linya and the tree guardian pause, sensing stronger incoming monsters. Suddenly a witch arrives on a broomstick, smiling at Linya. A prompt appears announcing the arrival of the Annihilation Witch. Another alert follows, stating enemy power in the secret realm has increased. The sudden appearance of the Annihilation Witch catches the giant tree guardian off guard as well, and Linya realizes that the tree guardian also recognizes her. He then looks over at the witch and thinks about how there's both a clone and an unknown boss, which seems to be some summoned entity, but the data refers to it as a clone. The protagonist recalls the time when he once had a fierce battle against such a being and stares into the Annihilation Witch's eyes angrily. The Annihilation Witch speaks up, calling it interesting to see everyone, Soul Summoning Bell, Giant Tree Guardian, and Tear of the Life Attendant, gathered there. At her remarks, the Tree Guardian and Mumu's deity glare at the witch, so our boy immediately asks them to calm down and questions if they know her already. Sumumu's deity shakes her head in denial, whereas the Tree Guardian states that she seems familiar to him, since she has the identical mark that Linya has, but the hero elaborates that it should refer to the Forgotten Nest Pass. In a nonchalant manner, the witch tells him not to be so bitter, because she is going to let them pass this stage for free due to their fate. She then hopes for them to cross the Forgotten Nest as well, and then disappears into thin air, leaving them confused and shocked. He stares into the blank space, wondering how she could just run away and disappear, just because he has the Forgotten Nest's pass. When he questions if she is also a creature from the nest, the giant tree guardian replies that even though he doesn't remember who she is, she had several similar origin marks like the Forgotten Nest one. After giving it a pause, he adds that the Annihilation Witch can't be a secret realm creature. Rather, he suspects that she got attracted to this secret realm when he got summoned by his master with the soul summoning bell. In this way, his master might have let him absorb part of the power of the catastrophe bringer, because she also has the same power and aura as that item, so she can even be the source, and might have personally endowed this secret realm with new power, altering the instance. Despite wanting to dig deeper into this matter, Linya decides not to count on the giant tree guardian since his key memories are hazy. Thus, our boy asks him to not worry about the Annihilation Witch anymore. He then points out the disappearance of the puppet's general, summoned by the witch as well, and questions who the final enemy is, since the instance hasn't shown a clearance prompt as well. Right then, Mumu and Baiju get there and explain how they sense changes in the instance, so they decided to regroup with them in case something major is happening. As soon as they express their relief over finding each other intact, the prompt appears, displaying that the black armored puppet mage's interest has been detected in the mage profession. Once the black armored puppet mage reignites the battle intent, Sumumu panics about whether she has misjudged the situation once again, commanding her to not waste her time overthinking about it since they wouldn't have gotten the clearance prompt anyways, even if she hadn't arrived. He expects the puppet mages to be the final bosses. Therefore, he starts to fight against them by nullifying their attacks through his own. The giant tree guardian and Sumumu's deity also join in to protect themselves against the puppet mages, whereas Lin Ye instructs Sumumu to freeze their energy orb debris in order to stop the secondary explosions. As ordered, she is quick to use her ice sealing technique on the enemy forces. Though it surprises the black-armored puppet mages at first, they soon summon a larger number of their army for help. When the Tree Guardian enlightens the protagonist about the situation of the secret summoning of 1,000 armies, Baiji seeks Lin Ye's guidance. With no hesitation or fright on his face, our boy tells her not to worry since he will also call a powerful helper now. With that said, he summons the Dark Curse Knight right away, and with a huge emission of light from his blade, a giant armored knight appears behind him. Being an hour-long level 20 combat knight, the Dark Curse Knight steps towards the black-armored puppet mages without wasting any time. Seeing his level increased from 15 to 20, Sumumu asks Lin Ye about it out of curiosity, to which he claims to not have noticed this. Secretly, he questions himself if there's a possibility that the Dark Curse Knight's strength might increase with that of the protagonist. On the other hand, the people watching the Dark Curse Knight appear can't believe their eyes and express their enthusiasm and surprise by talking highly about Lin Ye. They call our guy the god who changed the difficulty of the historical dungeon and got qualified to summon Curse Knights. While the people are rooting for Lin Ye and the knight, a group of men walk away from the crowd of students and decide to act first since they are trapped here and have lost contact with all the superiors. One of them expresses his joy over finally getting some freedom to do whatever they want, since their abyssal demon commanders are already in trouble. Thus, he summons the Demon Tide teleportation gate. Inside the dungeon, Lin Ye instructs the Dark Curse Knight not to use the Moonlight Pierce, because the enemy forces are using a human wave tactic, and rather commands him to lure them all to the current location. Right then, the knight's each attribute increases dramatically, and he flies forward towards the black-armored puppet mages. When the puppet mages spot the incoming danger, they begin to attack him, but he protects himself very well. Not just that, he counterattacks the puppet mages, making the hero proud of the knight's performance, who succeeds in luring in the enemy forces. He then tells the girls that those 4 bosses won't be able to make a rash move until the puppet mages are killed, because their strategy is to tire Lin Ye and his team with minor enemies. He further mentions that he has noticed the mana reserves being provided for the magic circle by them, instead of attacking them, and mocks the general line puppet mages for being stupid as well. The Dark Curse Knight bravely fights against the black-armored puppet mages, and once he makes a big ball of mana, he launches it at the enemy troops on the protagonist's command. This heavenly strike causes great damage to the puppet mages, and with the Poison Bubble, Flamestorm, and Frostbite techniques, the girls also attack the enemy forces altogether. At last, the Dark Curse Knight swings his blade, and with Moonlight Pierce, the entire black-armored puppet mage group is annihilated. The magic circle gets destroyed, and their bosses suffer great backlash. Lin Ye uses the reverse clarity confinement technique on the bosses, commanding his team to not let them recover and resummon any more minor enemies. He tells them to keep breaking the bosses individually. He then pulls off the reverse healing plunder technique with full confidence, which results in the black-armored puppet mage general getting slain. Lin Ye then looks around and sees how Sumumu and the giant tree guardian have also slain the respective black-armored puppet mage generals they're fighting off. When the Tree Guardian's opponent doesn't die instantly, he uses the Absolute Shadow Single-Slash technique and slays her in half. Finally, the Secret Realm dungeon clears, and their rewards start to get calculated. Under the influence of the special ability, Glaze of the Goddess of Fortune, all clear treasure chests upgrade to Diamond Tier, and 2 big treasure chests appear before them. The 2 Diamond Tier treasure chests appear before the team, and Lin Ye orders them to be opened. On the command, the treasure chests bring out 4 extraordinary rewards: a Diamond Tier Priest skill, Blessing of the Stars, a Diamond Tier Mage weapon, Book of Divine Thunder, a Diamond Tier equipable item, Eye of the Sun, and a rare tier item. Our boy looks at the priest's skill with glistening eyes and finds it amusing. He then calls Falling Stars a great weapon. The students outside the dungeon watch with keen interest at what has been dropped as the rewards. They are busy pushing through each other in order to look at the screen. Meanwhile, Wang Machao walks to Zhang Cheng's city lord and whispers something in his ear. After listening to him, the city lord inquires about the war situations in the abyssal realm, to which Macau declares that they're about to win. He further continues, adding that they've reached the Abyssal Palace and deduces today as the best day to assassinate the Abyssal Lord. Thus, he announces the arriving death of all the Abyssal demons. Zhangcheng's city lord appreciates Machao and his team's efforts and cautions him to be extra careful all the time since it seems to have happened too easily, because the Abyssal demons stop at nothing to do evil. Machao tries to say something about what would happen if they succeed in sweeping out the entire abyssal force in one go, but Lin Ye and his team exit the secret realm dungeon right then, and the students begin to cheer the protagonist's name out of excitement. Upon setting foot into the shelter, our boy spots Wang Machao there, and he thinks that things must be going smoothly as per the Alliance's plan. Wondering at what stage the Alliance's troops would be at, he feels uneasy about the situation, as if they are overlooking some factor, and dreams about how wonderful it would be if they succeeded in eliminating the abyssal forces in one fell swoop. Suddenly the students are heard screaming in a terrific manner, and upon turning around, everyone notices the tide creatures, which have barged into the shelter and are attacking the students. The officials are flabbergasted as they question the appearance of those creatures to themselves, whereas the dying students beg for help. Wang Machao is quick to react as he flashes towards the tide creatures and asks the student to not panic, assuring that he'll save the student in the creature's hand. He then requests immediate support from his forces, informing them about the unforeseen emergence of the tide creatures, adding that he suspects some insider has teleported them here. At the same time, Lin Ye also lunges towards the tide creatures and uses his plunder technique. He realizes that something is really wrong since the city guards that are guarding outside are extremely strong. Wang Machao has also returned to report to the city lord, not to mention the arrangements made by the Alliance's higher-ups. Therefore, he concludes to himself that the creatures must have been temporarily summoned internally by an insider. Zhangcheng's city lord commands the professional combatants present there to quickly take out their weapons and protect the students. With that said, the professional combatants do as told, and they all begin to fight the tide creatures in order to protect the students. Some would run to protect the students, and some would alert the officials of the attacks directed towards them. Wang Machao alarms the city lord about the tide creature's flames, whereas the city lord summons his wyvern and assures the students that the wyvern flames can only damage abyssal creatures, so they must not panic. Fed up with the situation, Wang Machao angrily questions if this is some kind of summoning item and inquires about the insider's hideout. Right then, Su Mumu comes forth and volunteers herself and the girls to clear out the area. He directs everyone to be attentive about the tide creatures appearing from anywhere. Meanwhile, Lin Ye tries to think of a way out of this situation and considers organizing everyone to leave the shelter first, but then he finds himself conflicted by the idea of catching the insider first. The shelter must still be hiding inside, and it is in the inner city, unlike the main venue. Security outside is tight, so escape is impossible. At the same time, he is aware of the fact that the tide will go on if they don't catch the insider first. Suddenly, two men enter the shelter and announce that the tide creatures have appeared in the ground in the inner city along with the shelter, and the abyssal creature levels are estimated to be around 30 to 40. This leads to all encirclement teams becoming mobilized, and all professional combatants are called out for emergency combat. Lin Ye, the city lord, and Wang Machao, all three of them are busy combating the tide creatures. Out of exhaustion, the city lord inquires of Machao about why the support from the inner city hasn't arrived yet, and where the professional combatants around the shelter are. Right then, a professional combatant enters the shelter injured and informs them that the inner shelter has been surrounded by multiple demon tide teleportation gates. Not only that, but the tide creatures on the streets have also turned out to be exceptionally outrageous, which concludes that the monsters from these gates are not low level, and the guard team is understaffed, so they can't provide support inside the shelter. Considering the situation, the protagonist realizes that if such a situation persists, the outer tide and the inner city tide will sandwich them and corner them until they're completely annihilated. On the other hand, Sumumu and Baiji notice that Mumu's attacks are especially effective towards the creatures, making them deduce that these monsters are low magic resistance types. Mumu then turns to our boy, asking him about his mana consumption, to which he assures her that he's fine, and asks her to take care of her mana consumption by letting Xiao Mumu handle more of those tide creatures. Continuing to fight against the abyssal creatures, the hero can't help but think about how they will need a large amount of recovery items if the tide creatures continue to come relentlessly. It is so because his team, the officials, and a lot of professional combatants and observers from the prestigious schools are here for the fun of it. He then turns to the city lord and discusses how these monsters are roughly around level 10 to 20, which means the higher level gates have spawned elsewhere. Furthermore, the creatures they are fighting have low magic resistance and high physical defense, with a difference of at least 100%. When he suggests that all the student mages should help from a distance, the city lord orders them to do so. Thus, they courageously agree to contribute. Lin Ye then uses his newly granted skill, Blessing of the Stars and Punishment of the Falling Stars, resulting in the decline of tide creatures' health. This move raises the motivation among the student mages, and they help out each other in restoring mana and health. However, the protagonist worries about the mana recovery skills and items not being enough to sustain them until the arrival of reinforcements. He thinks about them all dying after reaching the human limit. Therefore, he inquires with the city lord about the amount of supplies within the shelter's reserves. He replies that the shelter was temporarily activated recently, following the principle of not wasting or letting things expire. Supplies need to be coordinated with the guard team for delivery. This statement makes him discover the grimness of the situation, since most of the main elite professional combatants went to participate in the encirclement of the abyssal forces, leading to a shortage of manpower in both the outer and inner city. Suddenly something clicks in his mind, making him yell out that they have been tricked. When he further exclaims that it's a diversionary tactic to lure the tiger out of the mountains, he feels someone's hand approach him from behind, telling him to calm down. Out of anger, our boy slaps the hand off himself, telling the person not to bother him at this crucial moment. However, to his surprise, it is Shangguanyan whose presence there completely catches him off guard. Upon being asked, Shangguanyan explains that the complete plan doesn't include him luring the White Clown, but it was a stand-in found by the Alliance. He then reveals to have been watching over Lin Ye's powerful performance. Thus, he proposes to work together with him by breaking through and fighting their way through the tide monsters to find the source. After considering it, our boy asks about the time it will take and the possible delays that could lead to casualties. In order to clear out our boy's confusions, Shangguanyan shows him his talent by connecting their souls. Now all the damage that had been done to Lin Ye will get divided between both, and all of the hero's skill damage is increased by 100%. When the hero gives Shangguanyan creeped out looks, he explains that it's his awakened talent, Soul Link, through which he can transfer his soul to another person. This lasts for an hour and comes with more functions than just this. With suspicion, our boy asks about the cost and its side effects on his body, thinking it must be a legendary tier awakened talent. However, Shangguanyan ensures that the only person who will get affected is himself, which would lead him to a 1-week coma, and the cost of it is to carry Shangguanyan with him once he is passed out. Once Lin Ye has understood the plan and the traits of the talent, he grabs Shangguanyan by the arm and takes him to get started. They come across a cockroach man monster, so Shangguan advises him to not let its mucus splatter out on them. On that command, Lin Ye swings his blade and cuts the cockroach man in half using his powers. Shangguanyan leads Lin Ye deeper, guiding him directly toward the hidden insider. Lin Ye immediately realizes the Lingyun sect master already knows the insider's identity. When questioned, the sect head calmly admits the truth without hesitation. He explains hidden surveillance has always existed throughout this area. The insiders hid the summoning scroll inside the monitoring room deliberately. This move is both foolish and clever, since monitors observe the monitoring room itself. Outside Zhong City, countless abyssal monsters roam freely through ruined streets. Huang Xiaofeng struggles heavily while fighting off the endless tide of monsters. He curses loudly, recalling how these filthy creatures dared capture and humiliate him. He resents how they wasted his time and forced him into such disgrace. After crushing another creature, he turns and snaps at Black Fist's follower. He orders the Shadow to stop stalking him immediately. Black Fist responds calmly, stating he can no longer accompany Xiaofeng. He claims Xiaofeng must continue alone, as he has urgent matters elsewhere. Black Fist points at the strange mark forming on Xiaofeng's forearm. He explains tide creatures will no longer attack him because of it. However, professional combatants will mistake him for a corrupted one. Black Fist advises surrendering immediately or hiding until the demonic tide ends. Afterward, Xiaofeng should explain the abyssal mark clearly to authorities. Finding the advice ridiculous, Xiaofeng insults Black Fist and demands a better plan. Black Fist refuses, claiming he has more important matters to handle. At that moment, Fox and Smoke Demon arrive, relieved to finally track Black Fist. They confront him angrily, accusing him of betraying the Abyss. Black Fist admits he was always an undercover agent named Smoker. He urges them to turn back now while there is still time. Smoke Demon erupts in fury and swings his arm to kill. Black Fist argues his intentions were right, but relying on the Abyss is wrong. Smoke Demon responds by smashing a powerful punch into Black Fist's face. Meanwhile, Fox approaches Huang Xiaofeng and greets him mockingly. Already irritated, Xiaofeng insults her by calling her a rat. Enraged, Fox slams him into a nearby wall with overwhelming force. She mocks his weakness when he fails to break free. Xiaofeng seizes a chance and swings his elbow toward her head. Fox instantly catches his arm and smashes it against the wall. Xiaofeng's face and arm are pinned as Fox grips his neck tightly. She insults him viciously, calling him a useless, corrupted being. Xiaofeng retaliates verbally, brutally attacking her appearance and pride. His words deeply wound Fox's ego, stripping away her restraint completely. She summons ropes of power, strangling his body and neck mercilessly. Xiaofeng realizes she truly intends to kill him this time. Smoke Demon transmits a mental message, reminding her of their mission. Fox explains Xiaofeng's corruption talent surpasses even Lord Mei Gao's. She states he is a 1 in 10,000 king-level corruption talent. Their plan is to capture him alive and brainwash him into a weapon. She mocks Smoke Demon while calling him over to help restrain Xiaofeng. After Smoke Demon agrees, Fox throws Xiaofeng aside dismissively. Suddenly, Black Fist appears and smashes Fox across the street. Her attributes plummet as she suffers severe internal injuries. Smoke Demon panics, unable to understand how Black Fist overwhelms them both. Furious, Fox and Smoke Demon charge him together with full power. Black Fist remains relaxed, declaring their transformations completely useless. He mocks Fox, stating she is actually buffing him instead. As they close in, massive energy erupts violently from Black Fist's body. The shockwave blasts them away as disbelief fills their expressions. Black Fist's awakening talent ignites as Abyssal Sound Crossing activates with multiple powerful benefits. Many of these benefits specifically target abyssal creatures possessing demonic characteristics. The corrupted dragon lets out a piercing scream as flames scorch her scaled body. Black Fist restrains himself, telling her he wanted to offer one final chance. For the sake of their past friendship, he hoped she would turn back. However, her stubbornness and misguided beliefs leave him no alternative now. With resolve, Black Fist strikes directly toward Fox's heart. Mid-punch, Fox forcefully shifts back into her human form. She crashes heavily onto the ground as Black Fist quietly bids her farewell. He tells her to choose humanity in her next life. He lifts her again and unleashes Meteor Uppercut with overwhelming force. Her dragon form splits apart as the attack lands decisively. Black Fist follows with Grand Slam, smashing her broken body into the ground. She lies motionless, blood splattered everywhere as the system evaluates her condition. The system confirms her death and congratulates Black Fist for eliminating the corrupted one. Black Fist stares silently at his fallen friend, emotions restrained tightly. A sudden loud noise breaks the moment as he notices Smoker fleeing. He apologizes to Fox internally, believing survival always leaves hope behind. Without hesitation, he dashes forward, chasing after Smoker relentlessly. He warns Smoker that there is no escape left for him. Smoker transforms into his beast form, accusing Black Fist of excessive cruelty. He charges forward with a desperate punch aimed straight at Black Fist. Black Fist remains unmoved, countering with Vajra Palm as a patriarch technique. He immediately follows with Force Displacement and Light Arhat Fist. The combined force sends Smoker flying violently across the battlefield. Black Fist finishes with Uppercut as the system announces Smoker's death. Black Fist turns toward Xiaofeng, who lies unconscious, unaware of the battle. He concludes that Xiaofeng's mental condition is deeply unstable. He lifts Xiaofeng, deciding to place him somewhere safe temporarily. Suddenly, his superior orders him to stop immediately. The boss asks Black Fist about his current location. Black Fist reports being outside Jiang City's north gate. He adds that he plans to escort Xiaofeng back into the city. He explains Xiaofeng was incapacitated by pursuing corrupted enemies earlier. Without hesitation, he reports that Fox and Smoker have been eliminated. The boss informs Black Fist that the plan has now changed entirely. He orders him to bring Xiaofeng directly to him instead. Black Fist reacts in confusion, questioning whether Xiaofeng is joining them. He argues Xiaofeng lacks training and would die as an undercover agent. The boss reveals shocking intelligence regarding Xiaofeng's corruption talent. According to reports, his potential far exceeds the abyssal demon Miego's judgment. His talent could surpass a corrupted lord, reaching king-level corruption. This revelation deeply shocks Black Fist as the boss continues explaining. The boss claims Xiaofeng could gain immense authority within the abyssal realm. Yet, Xiaofeng's unique will allows him to reject complete corruption. This paradox grants him the potential to slay beings beyond abyssal kings. He could even approach the Emperor of the Abyss itself. Such a corrupted individual has never existed in their history before. The boss adds that he confirmed this decision with Xiaofeng's father. The Alliance and other authorities unanimously approve the plan. He assures Black Fist that Xiaofeng can receive abyssal power safely. The corruption can be controlled without consuming his humanity entirely. Black Fist asks what happens if Xiaofeng refuses and remains human. He mentions Xiaofeng constantly mutters Lin Ye's name obsessively. Granting abyssal power would eliminate any chance of a fair confrontation. The boss calmly claims he already has a solution prepared. He warns Black Fist not to judge Xiaofeng by his unpleasant temperament. Xiaofeng's stubborn beliefs and true potential defy normal evaluations. Neither professionals nor abyssal demons can fully assess him. The boss explains Xiaofeng's flaws stem from childhood trauma. This truth is a closely guarded secret known only to his father. He believes Lin Ye also made decisions after understanding Xiaofeng's nature. Although Lin Ye can easily kill abyssal demons, Xiaofeng is extreme. He will likely turn Lin Ye into an obsession and internal demon. Xiaofeng aims to crush Lin Ye and prove his bloodline supremacy. These two geniuses are fundamentally incompatible as teammates. However, they can still cooperate separately to maximize overall effectiveness. The boss tells Black Fist he will explain the remaining plan later. Black Fist acknowledges the orders and promises to bring Xiaofeng back. He mentions hearing something serious occurred recently in Jiang City. The boss sighs, confirming that an incident indeed happened. Fortunately, Lin Ye intervened, and the situation completely reversed. Lin Ye shifts from his destruction form back into his normal combat state. He remarks that it is strange how these creatures lack intelligence yet fear him. He points out that despite the massive portal, no monsters are emerging anymore. Linya asks Yan whether this is due to the Abyssal Lord's death. He suggests the Alliance combatants may have eliminated the controlling abyssal demons. Yan nods, agreeing that such a scenario is entirely possible. He explains that tide creatures follow abyssal demons empowered by abyssal energy. They can also communicate telepathically with beings inside the abyssal realm. Yan adds that earlier fearlessness resulted from commanders forcing them forward. They were compelled to charge, rather than willingly throwing their lives away. With their commanders dead, instinctive fear now prevents further provocation. Yan stands and begins binding the defeated corrupted comrades securely. He admits he still does not understand how they entered such abnormal states. Normally, corrupted ones do not remain conscious after abyssal surveillance disconnects. After tying them, Yan says understanding the cause is unimportant currently. What matters is preventing their escape and ensuring strict judgment awaits them. Linya hands Yan the scroll and asks what should be done next. He explains that the scroll appears summonable and resists destruction by his abilities. Yan nods, admitting that dealing with the scroll is somewhat troublesome. Linya adds that the scroll has not moved even slightly so far. Suddenly, creatures begin pouring out from the portal once again. Both men instantly ready themselves for another round of combat. Yan tells Linya they must repeat what they did earlier. Linya activates Reverse Red Sea and Sea of Undead immediately. Yan reminds him to keep the corrupted ones alive, as drowning will not work. Linya nods, explaining that his attacks only target tide creatures. He re-enters destruction form and unleashes spells to eliminate enemies. Yan watches, thinking Linya's combat versatility is absolutely outrageous. In moments, Linya deals damage, applies debuffs, and controls crowds seamlessly. Linya turns back and tells Yan the path ahead is clear. Yan only stares silently, causing Linya to ask if something is wrong. Yan tells him to proceed, offering no further explanation. Linya explains that the portal must be completely sealed next. However, the scroll must be destroyed due to its portal connection. Unable to destroy it directly, Linya activates his annihilation form. He throws the scroll forward and strikes it with moon concealment. Heavy impacts shake the area, making onlookers think an earthquake has begun. The city lord orders everyone to remain calm, assuring reinforced shelter stability. He then wonders whether something serious is happening on Linya's side. A sudden screech shocks both men, freezing them momentarily. Yan asks whether portals can mimic human voices, as this is unfamiliar. A voice pleads with Linya to stop stabbing the scroll. Linya calmly inserts the earplugs Mumu gave him earlier. This action confuses Yan even further. Soon the scroll opens on its own, reacting violently. Yan confirms that the item has activated independently. The scroll shouts that it will close the portal if released. Linya stops attacking as the scroll rises into the air. It suddenly tears itself apart, scattering fragments downward. Linya asks whether everything is finally over now. Yan picks up the torn pages and confirms the danger has passed. No new tide creatures will appear, and the situation has reversed completely. Across the city, Alliance soldiers notice portals closing one after another. They shout encouragement, preparing to eliminate remaining creatures easily. Soon, energy shifts as white jellyfish-like lights flood the sky. They drift gracefully, each one blessed by an unknown power. The path of the sea moon activates, transporting Linya forward. As he runs, damaged roads beneath him begin healing instantly. People watch in awe as jellyfish shield him while he advances. Health begins to restore as several Alliance members step forward to congratulate the students. One Alliance member asks whether this is the newly graduated student they heard about. They joke that a divine being has descended from the heavens into the mortal realm. Then, another member remarks that Linya is not even a priest by strict classification. They believe the displayed talent must be a bonus effect from his soul link, and an ordinary bonus ability could never cover such an enormous area. One person asks if they truly recognize him among the crowd. They point directly at him, calling him Linya, the rising priest. After that, someone questions whether it really is him at that moment. Linya closes his eyes and activates divine radiance of the star blessing. The surrounding area becomes enveloped in shimmering divine light. Observers recognize spirit moon concealment activating alongside the summoned object. After absorbing the large gate, its power continues increasing rapidly. Despite being an active skill, purification automatically begins spreading outward. The Oath of the Sea releases, covering the entire city instantly. A system notification announces reduced damage received across all allied units. Then, all healed targets begin gaining full attribute bonuses simultaneously. Seeing this, the city lord grips the boots of snow tightly. He recognizes the spell as large-scale healing across the entire battlefield. He declares it a divine stroke, washing away injuries like snow. Mumu and Baiju stare upward, wondering what is falling from the sky. Suddenly, Mumu realizes that the descending figure is Linya. Other students notice their wounds finally healing and fading away. Someone exclaims that their condition has improved almost instantly. Other girls cheer, saying their backs and legs no longer hurt. They excitedly praise Lin Ye as a rapidly rising star. Buffed combatants laugh, claiming they can fight the great monster hundreds more times. Baiji smiles at Mumu, saying they have finally won this battle. At that moment, members of the City Lord's clan emerge onto the field. Their leader guides everyone forward, announcing the clan's full return. Someone declares they have successfully recaptured the lost ground. Meanwhile, Lin Ye activates Spirit Moon Concealment in its destruction state. The clan lord excitedly says he will now charge alongside brother Lin Ye. Other members urge him to wait, warning that Lin Ye's blade targets the abyss. The city lord explains that Lin Ye's weapon delivers fatal blows to enemies. It independently purifies, absorbs souls, and continuously increases in quality. Lin Ye sees a prompt stating over 100 spirits gain new forms. When the Jade Shield blocks 500 allied damage points, effects begin stacking. Combined with Guardian Land's Jade Seal Shield, protection spreads outward. A massive shield forms, enveloping the entire city completely. Seeing this, the city lord speaks proudly about Lin Ye's achievement. He says the boy alone has changed the status of professional combatants. Turning to students, he declares priests will now be valued far more. Outside the city, a reporter informs the inner city that Jiang's sources returned. Sector A has been cleared, with sweeping teams searching buildings thoroughly. All hidden tide creatures in stairwells and residences are eliminated. The outer city has been reclaimed and signal towers reactivated. A professor asks about the inner city's current condition. The reporter explains the 1st Legion now controls central wall defenses. They have begun clearing the inner city methodically. The 2nd Legion is confirming shelter losses and survivor counts. The professor reflects that corrupted individuals were never fully considered. They underestimated how deeply corruption infiltrated the student groups. They also misjudged the severity of the demonic tide's emergence. He wonders how no one discovered the issue sooner. The outer city suffered worse damage due to numerous teleportation gates. Even the original examination venue was largely destroyed. He reminds himself not to abandon providing aid to remaining students. Fortunately, no ordinary civilians were killed during the incident. He thinks about relying on the city lord and Lin Ye. They successfully protected the inner arena from total collapse. He tries recalling who received resources earlier but cannot remember clearly. Uncle Huang later reports that Yan restored all monitoring systems. They confirm the inner city suffered 0 casualties. As discussions continue, everyone agrees the students performed exceptionally. Teacher Shuang states that without Lin Ye, 0 casualties were impossible. Meanwhile, the cloaked woman arrives quietly, wearing a faint, knowing grin. Once the war between professionals and tide creatures ends, all creatures are completely exterminated. The sources of the demonic tide are also thoroughly cleared afterward. With the crisis resolved, the city begins organized post-disaster cleanup operations immediately. Meanwhile, all teachers, students, parents, and professional combatants are escorted to special lounges. These lounges are designated for comprehensive physical inspections and medical treatments. They were exposed to prolonged high-pressure combat, pushing their physical thresholds dangerously far. Many participants survived only due to continuous healing provided by Lin Ye and other priests. After inspections conclude, the results are fortunate, showing no serious injuries or lasting after effects. Everyone also receives free high-level recuperation services arranged by the Alliance. However, Shangguan Yan is the most severely affected among all participants. The Soul Link's backlash pulls him into a coma immediately after the battle. As a result, his people carry him directly back to the spiritual rhyme sect. Once the insider is identified, Alliance supervisors take custody of him immediately. He will be used as a lead to investigate other corrupted individuals. These corrupted ones were responsible for deploying the demonic tide. Several supervisors overseeing city defense are also implicated during the investigation. They are dismissed and investigated for neglecting duties and leaving shelters unguarded. Their failure directly results in the deaths of tens of thousands. Despite everything being settled, Lin Ye feels a major unresolved issue remains. According to the principal's message, the Alliance already knew of the insider's plan. They had even arranged counter-deployments in advance. Therefore, inner-city defenses and examination venues should have been heavily guarded. However, reality contradicts these supposed preparations entirely. Lin Ye recalls questioning Shangguan Yan about attacking the abyss earlier. Shangguan Yan mentioned something vague about a plan document. Although Shangguan Yan was ordered to attack the abyss, he never arrived. Instead, he rushed to the central control room after detecting abnormalities. While explaining this, Lin Ye studies his eyes thoughtfully. He wonders whether Shangguan Yan's talent causes reduced intelligence as a side effect. Suddenly, Shangguan Yan recalls their confidence in eliminating abyssal forces quickly. Because of this confidence, all main city forces were transferred outward. Despite hearing this reasoning, Lin Ye remains unconvinced. He points out that everyone seems to have forgotten shared deployment memories. Even if mistakes occurred, no one would logically transfer all main forces. Doing so practically hands the insider an opportunity to open demonic portals. After dealing with the card incident, elite encirclement teams should have returned. They should have protected students and reinforced inner-city security. Instead, they were suddenly ordered to attack the Abyssal Realm. Shockingly, everyone complied without objections or reminders. Shang Guanyan admits they completely forgot the original orders and deployment plan. This realization deeply unsettles him because it defies common sense. If someone truly manipulated their memories, their power would be terrifying. Such an ability could destroy both the city and abyssal forces effortlessly. When Shang Guanyan questions the motive, Lin Ye offers a different perspective. He suggests the manipulator may not be as godlike as imagined. Elsewhere, the city lord recalls their original defense deployment plan clearly. They intended to assign multiple guard teams for comprehensive coverage. The plan also accounted for abyssal corruption among ordinary civilians. Chairman Huang confirms these facts and adds further insights. Many corrupted individuals have mixed backgrounds but possess limited strength. Most have not even received abyssal powers yet. They lack abilities, remain inactive, and blend easily among civilians. Additionally, they only maintain one-way contact with abyssal demons. This makes identifying them and gathering evidence extremely difficult. The city lord recalls drafting countermeasures against these unstable, corrupted individuals. Since no one followed the plan, Chairman Huang suggests a grim possibility. A high-level corrupted individual may have erased everyone's memories. However, he struggles to believe such an extreme scenario. If such an insider existed, why allow the situation to reverse so easily? Why not warn the abyssal forces earlier or retreat strategically? Instead, the insider watched their master die without intervention. This realization suddenly sparks something in the city lord's mind. He wonders if internal conflict exists within the abyssal forces themselves. Perhaps their true target was the abyssal king all along. Multiple disturbing scenarios flood his thoughts rapidly. He orders Chairman Huang to contact combatant alliances in other cities immediately. These hidden forces may be even more dangerous than abyssal demons. They clearly harbor deeper conspiracies and unknown objectives. He also orders a thorough re-examination of all personnel involved. They must identify memory-altering methods, items, and suspicious individuals. Elsewhere, the hooded man and woman discuss whether their actions were exposed. The man claims discovery is meaningless since they acted quite openly. He adds that they have already obtained Lin Ye's complete combat data. He admits Lin Ye's talent and strength are genuinely outstanding. Defeating the Dark Curse Knight without injury proves extraordinary capability. Earning the Gatekeeper's recognition further solidifies his value. Hearing this praise, the woman questions whether he likes that human child. She warns him about possible abyssal assassination attempts targeting Lin Ye. The man dismisses her concern calmly and confidently. He explains that their luring the tiger out of the mountain plan poses no threat. Lin Ye was merely a tool used to test his true strength. The man and the woman speak admirably about Lin Ye while observing the ongoing situation. Suddenly, their winged eye flashes with red light, signaling the protagonist's team has arrived. This signal allows the two of them to access and watch the complete dungeon footage. They begin reviewing the footage together, focusing closely on the hero's combat performance. After observing Lin Ye carefully, the woman admits he possesses truly extraordinary and unique strength. The man teases her, reminding her how she urged evacuation earlier despite praising Lin Ye. Before she can respond, something unexpected appears on the footage, shocking them both instantly. Their eyes widen in disbelief as a question escapes their mouths simultaneously. They struggle to comprehend what they are witnessing on the recorded dungeon scene. The cause of their astonishment is the appearance of Biotears and the giant tree guardian. They exclaim that these are not simple summons created using ordinary summoning items. Astonishment quickly turns into confusion when the woman notices the Annihilation Witch as well. She recognizes the witch as the creator of the fluorescent descenders seen earlier. Gradually, the duo realizes they have been mistaken all along in their assumptions. They spot Sumumu and finally understand she is controlling both powerful summoned entities. The man clenches his fist in anger, crushing the winged eye instantly. He declares that the prophecy guided by the third umbilical cord referred to Sumumu. It was not Lin Ye, but Mumu, who defeated the Dark Curse Knight without injury. Having identified Sumumu as the long-sought Chosen One, she suddenly starts sneezing. At that same moment, Lin Ye and his team receive notifications on their mobile phones. Their accounts have been credited with Alliance coins as an additional performance bonus. Although the credited amounts vary from millions to significantly lower sums, everyone receives something. Every participant involved in the incident receives compensation without exception. The Alliance's decision to grant long-term pensions to all participants is highly commendable. However, aside from the Heroes team, another group of students faces serious difficulties. These students must focus on recovery, while also preparing once again for the final exam. They need to extend their battle lines despite ongoing physical and mental exhaustion. After searching online, Lin Ye learns the final exam is scheduled 1 month later. This exam is crucial as it evaluates both physical recovery and psychological stability. Suddenly, a knock sounds at the door, interrupting Lin Ye's thoughts. When he opens it, he finds Chairman Huang Tiang standing outside the residence. The chairman explains he arrived under the city lord's orders. He then presents Lin Ye with an honorary medal for his contributions. Chairman Huang adds that Lin Ye can upgrade his equipment skills once again. When Lin Ye and Baiji step outside, they notice numerous security guards present. Despite this, the protagonist and the girls focus on the tablet handed to him. The tablet displays a list of newly available equipment options. Chairman Huang expects Lin Ye to remain calm, assuming the equipment holds no surprises. However, Lin Ye explains he actually wants to replace his boots and belt. He states that increasing his recovery effect has become redundant at this stage. Additionally, the magic resistance only blocks standard attacks from magic-based professions. Since priests already possess higher magic resistance growth, the belt feels inefficient. He believes the belt of invigoration contains outdated or overlapping attributes. Lin Ye admits he originally chose the belt merely to satisfy final exam requirements. Now, however, he wishes to replace the swift boots to enhance his potential strength. He emphasizes that there is no such thing as excessive speed in combat. He explains that both the Black Curse Knight and Giant Tree Guardian rely on speed. Their dominance comes from extremely high attack speed, overwhelming opponents continuously. Without such speed, even dungeon bosses would struggle to maintain invincibility. Lin Ye continues explaining that their combat power would drop by 50% otherwise. After speaking extensively, Lin Ye finally stops and announces his final decision. He selects the Flame Boots along with a Healing Wave skill book. Su Mumu immediately questions his choice, calling Healing Wave an average platinum tier skill. To explain himself, Lin Ye taps the screen and displays the skill's attributes. The skill heals 500 health while dealing 800 damage to an enemy. He explains that after activating his talent, the skill's damage increases significantly. It surpasses healing spells and Holy Light in single-target damage output. The only condition is the presence of at least 2 enemy targets. With everything settled, Chairman Huang mentions needing to find Shangguan Yan next. He remarks that Shangguan Yan will certainly extort resources for the spiritual rhyme sect. Before leaving, Lin Ye asks whether Huang Xiaofeng truly has no issues. Chairman Huang replies that his son has his own talent and mission. Although Xiaofeng cannot compare to Lin Ye, the chairman takes full responsibility. After Chairman Huang and his guards depart, Su Mumu asks about Xiaofeng's whereabouts. Lin Ye calls it a secret and leaves after telling her to enjoy the holiday. When the girls ask to accompany him, Lin Ye refuses their assistance. He states clearly that this upcoming mission is meant to be undertaken alone. Chapter 56. Several teachers move around the town, asking locals about Lin Ye after failing to locate him. After repeated inquiries, they finally reach his residence and knock firmly on the closed door. Suddenly, the door opens, and Su Mumu appears, calmly facing the group of visiting teachers. Then, she begins explaining that the protagonist has gone to clear a dungeon outside the city. Before she can finish, a female teacher abruptly interrupts her with an impatient and rude tone. She insists Su Mumu listen carefully, despite knowing she is a special recruit contested by universities. Without allowing a response, the teacher continues speaking, her words filled with thinly veiled disdain. She declares it is Mumu's choice to attend a top 3 elite university or elsewhere. According to her, the top universities possess the strongest faculty and deepest academic foundations. She contrasts this with universities lacking thresholds, which lower standards recklessly to recruit students. The teacher claims her words are advice offered purely out of goodwill and concern. Then she deliberately reveals Lin Ye's decision to apply to Apocalypse University, ranked 10th. She emphasizes that Apocalypse University is the only one willing to admit Baiji. The implication is clear, meant to shake Su Mumu's confidence and sense of direction. Previously, this same teacher personally approached Lin Ye to discuss the recruitment matter. Lin Ye responded directly, stating he would attend no university without his entire team. He emphasized this was his only condition and refused to compromise further. The teacher reacted angrily, snapping that no university would accept such an underperforming student. She mocked him as someone relying on connections, regardless of his #1 ranking. Contrary to her expectations, Apocalypse University accepted all of Lin Ye's conditions. This outcome deeply shocked the female teacher and left her visibly unsettled. Lin Ye further stated that university rankings held no importance in his personal decisions. He explained he sought only a university genuinely suitable for his growth and future. Standing at the doorway, the teacher coldly informs Su Mumu of the final deadline. She states that today is the last day for special recruitment opportunities. After today, elite universities will permanently close their doors to Su Mumu. She urges Mumu to think carefully and make a wise, irreversible choice. Sumumu calmly agrees to consider it and closes the door behind her. Left alone, she reflects on how offensive Lin Ye sounded, despite being justified. She takes out her phone and notices he still has not replied. Meanwhile, Lin Ye is deep within a dungeon, fighting monsters continuously without rest. He relies on exceptional combat instincts and overwhelming power to dominate the battlefield. Using the reverse skill repeatedly, he efficiently slaughters the dungeon monsters. After clearing the area, he heads toward the exit portal while calculating progress. He realizes he no longer needs to defeat 10,000 boss monsters. At this pace, finishing the monster requirement before holiday's end seems effortless. Although leveling speed remains slow, dungeon resources continue supporting his growth. Shangguan and Huang Tianqi have spoken with Apocalypse University's principal. This ensures Lin Ye retains access to university dungeon resources without interruption. Most importantly, Lin Ye feels Apocalypse University is the best choice for him. The top 10 universities are cradles for cultivating elite professional combatants. Their students are prodigies with exceptional talent, resources, and powerful family backgrounds. Naturally, these universities have formed exclusive networks and hierarchical contempt chains. Above them stand the prestigious top 3 universities, rejecting ordinary students entirely. They refuse applicants relying solely on connections, regardless of personal strength. Lin Ye feels grateful toward Shangguan and Chairman Huang for supporting him. Their efforts ensured he became more than just a student with connections. As Lin Ye steps toward the exit portal, a hand suddenly lands on his shoulder. A familiar voice calls his name, halting him mid-step. Turning around, he sees Sumumu and Baiji standing behind him. They came specifically to check on his condition and dungeon progress. Lin Ye explains that dungeons contain 200 to 500 minor monsters. He assures them completing the requirement before holiday's end is entirely feasible. He then informs them all 3 have been admitted to Apocalypse University. They will remain a permanent team and continue clearing dungeons together. Sumumu suggests Lin Ye take a proper break from constant dungeon grinding. He has stayed inside dungeons too long, despite completing tasks efficiently. The graduation class's final test has already concluded successfully. Additionally, the long-awaited graduation trip is about to begin. Lin Ye suddenly realizes he completely forgot about the graduation trip. The graduation trip is a semi-recreational event organized by the Combatant Alliance. Participation is free regardless of grades, academy placement, or career path. All expenses are officially contracted and fully covered by the Alliance. In this era of demonic tides, humanity enclosed cities for survival. Though large tides ended, wandering monsters still exist in the wilderness. Small-scale demonic tides occasionally appear, threatening unprotected regions. The Alliance conducts regular patrols and cleanup operations across territories. Each city maintains outposts monitoring surrounding wild areas continuously. Outside city regions have evolved into semi-tourist, semi-training zones. These zones aim to strengthen unity and adaptability among humans. After consideration, Lin Ye agrees to participate in the graduation trip. On departure day, the train platform is packed with students and civilians. Students excitedly discuss future plans and compare their achieved grades. Lin Ye notices several people present who clearly are not students. Among them is Shangguan, causing Lin Ye visible confusion. Lin Ye questions why someone like Shangguan is present here. Shangguan explains he is still of eligible age despite leadership status. He wishes to report early to Apocalypse University and familiarize himself. He then casually reveals his intention to join Lin Ye's permanent team. This revelation completely catches the protagonist off guard. Meanwhile, a man hidden in the shadows silently listens to everything.